Last time on Square Roots, Akira delves into the mind of madness, liquefies a turtle, and punches a bird in the face. Later, in space, no one can hear you scream, but they can hear you cuddle your dead boyfriend in your bed. It sounds squelchy.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Matthew Van Zant.
What's up, gang?
John Uranus Brandon.
I knew you were going to choose Uranus.
So predictable, Jim.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this, my friends, is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs one chunker at a time. And this week we are finishing up Live, Live, Live.
Live, laugh, live.
What a good game.
Well, it's great. I really enjoyed it. Spoiler for the end of this show.
Whoa,
All right, well,
whoa.
we are roundly
It's
full.
no
opinion
That's
spoilers.
it for this episode of Square Roots. But no, we haven't even talked about this week's hot gaming news. And there's just so much of it.
Yep. Vanessa's got a big steaming pile of it.
Yep. I got the hottest gaming news. The hottest gaming news is that the guy who made the Oculus Rift has finally done it. He made a VR headset where if you die in a game, you die in real life. He did it by putting some bomb on it, I guess, that blows up your forehead. And why he did this is because he's
It's like
terrible.
He's a piece of shit.
real
He's a terrible
experience,
man.
A billionaire with nothing else to do.
Yeah, he's 30 and he loves Trump and
Wants
he
to
wants
Real
to
life,
make things that kill you.
like that fucking terrible anime. Sword
Yeah,
Art
everyone's
Online.
talking about the anime, which I have never seen. I don't know anything about it.
But he's
Sword Art
not
Online was
30.
super good and interesting for the first 13 episodes, and then the last back half of the first season was a horrible misogynistic junk, and none of the rest of it was worth watching. The end.
So something a rich right-wing nerd might like a lot.
Yeah. Well, so Lucky Palmer's what, like 45? He's not 30.
I don't know.
He can't
Look,
be.
I don't know anything about this guy except that he's making death helmets, and once you start doing that, like, that's no good. There's no good use for a death helmet. All it does is death helmet, and if he
Right.
wanted to make an art piece, he could just say it was a death helmet and
Maybe he is.
not make it.
He actually is 30 years old.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Palmer Freeman Lucky, born
So
September
he
19,
was
1992.
20. So he was like 24 or 25 when he was like paying all those Trump bots and people to shit post about Trump.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What a
that
piece
shocking to you?
of garbage.
Yeah, he's a real turd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably going to own Twitter pretty soon. So that's my hot gaming news.
That death helmet definitely is going to move a lot of product and make him a trillionaire.
The problem with Death Helmet is you can't actually sell it legally because Death Helmet.
What? No, I have the right to bear arms on my forehead in the form of a bomb that'll kill me.
Doesn't that
You know
like qualify
what?
as a trap? Like, aren't there
Yeah.
regulations against lethal traps?
There's lots of regulations about lethal traps. Probably you could have like a class action lawsuit on your hand if you did sell a VR helmet that killed people. I think even saying like disclaimer, VR helmet will kill you wouldn't really work out. I think a jury probably would still say, nah, it's still super negligent to make a VR helmet what kill you. In other hot gaming news, Cartoon is coming.
Cartoon?
Yeah, everyone's excited about Cartoon. It's coming to Netflix. It is about Dragon Age.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yay. I'm excited. They have a pretty good track record.
Good track record, but I watched the trailer, and like many people, I didn't feel anything about the trailer particularly spoke to Dragon Age. Kind of had generic-y music that didn't sound like Dragon Age music, generic-y things happening, but it was just a teaser trailer, so we don't know what it will really be like.
Shepard will definitely show up in the show.
Yeah, Shepard will show up and be like, I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite dragon on the Citadel.
This is my favorite dragon of the age.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
it's canon that Dragon Age and Mass Effect are in the same universe because that behemoth thing showed up.
Yeah, Dragon Age planet is just a planet in the Mass Effect galaxy, but they haven't found it yet, really.
What if Dragon Age 4 was about Reapers showing up and them having to use weird magic to fight the Reapers? I would fucking play that. That sounds interesting.
That sucks because the Reapers were just bad idea. They were just bad.
Kind of liked them.
Okay.
Yeah, it falls a bit flat for me too, but I still will always love the giant Terminator at the end of Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, the baby.
That's fucking crazy. Some crazy shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll talk about it maybe this January.
BioWare is coming, and if we follow our traditional BioWare pattern, it would be time for Mass Effect 3 in 2023.
Wow, really?
What about Jade Empire?
What about Baldur's Gate? What about Neverwinter Nights?
What about Sonic Dark Brotherhood?
Yeah, what about Sonic Dark Brotherhood?
BioWare has a very specific purpose, and that purpose is the 1 month a year when I don't have to play one of your guys' bullshit games and can play a cool video game.
Are you sure that it's not Dragon Age 3 next? Didn't we do Mass
Yeah, we
Effect
did
last?
Dragon Age 2. No, we did Dragon Age 2 last year.
Okay.
We did
we?
Dragon
That
Age.
feels like
we
a
did,
million
I thought we
years
did
ago.
Origins. Or did we do
both,
two?
Jim?
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
We've done
And by
Mass
last
Effect
year,
1 and
I guess
2
I
and
mean
Dragon
this
Age 1
year.
and 2.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was this year.
Yep. Then we got to finish it up with Mass Effect 3,
All right.
Dragon Age 3,
I need to play
and
it.
after that, we can play Sonic whatever.
Yay!
Mass Effect 3 is pretty dope. I like it.
That's good. I've never played it. I
Someone
bought it day
has
one
to.
and turned it on once and was like, eh.
Oh, interesting. Very,
never
very
played it.
interesting.
I finished it twice. Once right when it came out and once with the new ending.
Oh.
I guess we'll get into it in January, but the fan theory about the ending is so good and so much better than what the game presents that I just assume that's canon at this
And
point.
by get into it in January, you mean get into it in March when we finish the game.
It's not that long.
BioWare is 1 month long, and that month lasts from when we start playing the game to when the game is over.
Finally, Bim Janks will return. I'll have to remake him.
That's the end of my hot gaming news. Who else has some hot gaming news?
I don't have much. There ain't much
We talked about Stadia getting closed, right? I feel like
for
we
sure.
should.
Tactics Ogre Reborn is out, and the reviews are very good, so check that out. Kingdom Hearts and Skyrim are coming to PS Plus this month.
Ooh.
Why always... Well, I guess it's not quite the same as a Skyrim re-release. Kingdom Hearts and Skyrim. I can't deny that they're classics, but hasn't everyone who wanted to play them played them by now?
I mean, they were on Game Pass, and I was very excited about it, and I played at least one of them on there, if not more. So,
I mean, you had to play them for the show.
yeah,
Do you want to
that's
know
true.
what the North American top 10 downloaded purchased PSN games on PlayStation 5 were this year?
Uh-huh.
Number 1. Actually, let's start with number 10. Number 10, A Plague Tale Requiem. I thought that was like an Xbox only game.
No, it's on
Me
Game
too.
Pass. I played a couple hours of it.
Isn't it a Plague
Okay.
Tale?
A Plague Tale
2?
Innocence is the first one. Requiem is the
Oh.
second one.
Okay.
Is there not something like people were like, don't play a Plague Tale, they stole it from someone else? Am I thinking of the right thing?
I haven't heard that.
Probably.
I heard that about Bayonetta, but that was turned out. Oh, we could talk about how all that kind of turned out to be weird. But
I'm glad we didn't talk about it when it was going on, because I
feel
was
like
not
we did, but
super
we
sure
were
about
like,
the whole situation.
It was very confusing. I
Yeah.
think we didn't say a definitive stance on it.
Well, that's
Number 9, Cyberpunk 2077. That's surprising.
Wow.
not Cyberpunk 2099.
No. Number, let's see, 10, 9, 8, PGA Tour 2K23. People play those. Huh.
Yeah, man.
Golf games are pretty fun.
Those
Particularly
play
these days,
fishing games?
you can play them online with your friends, kind of.
Can you make a
Hollow Knife.
hot bear? Can you make a big beefy boy, like with
Probably.
massive arms, just wrecking those
Yeah.
clubs?
I want to play a competitive fishing game and stuff weights in my fish.
Ooh. Number 7, Grand Theft Auto 5, because of course.
What?
Number 6,
Please,
NHL
Grand Theft Auto.
23. Oh, that's surprising. Good for NHL. I think it's good to see it that like higher than Cyberpunk or GTA 5. That's number 6. Number 5, Madden MNFL 23. That's the one with like the ghost of Madden looking over all your field, and it's like, good job, everyone. It tastes great and it's less filling. Number 4, NBA 2K 23. Number 3, FIFA 23. This is like all the games that you'll see for $3 in a couple of years at your game store. Used bin.
They're playing so many sports games.
I mean, definitely my friends get the most use out of their Game Pass subscriptions with Madden and the show and Football Manager.
Number 2, Gotham Knights. And number 1, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which
Gotham
actually
Knights, didn't that just come out?
Uh-huh.
It was on.
That's why it's a hot seller.
the COD game this year's looks pretty good. I actually want to play it.
I've had several people ask me if I'm
Set in,
going to
like-
get it because they know I love PUBG, and I'm like, nah.
But
is it
for the
set?
single player.
When is it?
Is it in
set?
like Amsterdam? Is that right?
There is a sneaky stealth level in Amsterdam. So it always follows like 3 different groups of people. One of them is a Mexican army anti-narco special forces that illegally cross into the States to pursue someone and are like sneaking around trying to avoid Americans. Wow. Yeah, they're the heroes of the game, so that sounds pretty rad.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
I don't know. This game sounds really neat. So I do want call me a
Which one is it?
generic gamer.
Is it-
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2? When did that come out?
Like a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Oh. I thought you were reading a list of the most downloaded games.
Yeah, I guess it's this month in October, and that's the number 1.
Is that new COD game the one that was in the news because in order to like de-escalate a situation with civilians, you had to point your gun at them?
Yes, but you aren't cops. You are Mexican special forces trying to not get shot by Americans. It's a whole thing.
Controversial.
Yeah, well, they always want their controversial
Yeah.
things, right, in those games. So, but I don't know.
Remember the airport level
Yep.
in that?
Yeah.
Oof.
I haven't played a Call of Duty campaign since COD Blops 1. I think that's the Modern Warfare 1.
Did
3.
you just call it cod blops?
Yeah, because I'm an internet guy. I'm on the internet. That's what we call it. It's COD
I
Blops.
want off this show forever.
So what I was thinking of doing this Christmas break is like downloading. Like I want to download the Kevin Spacey Space Fighter COD
What?
campaign.
Kevin Spacey is canceled. You can't play that anymore.
Well, I don't think he'll get any money from it. It's gonna be like $3.
He was already
Let me
paid.
be
He
frank.
didn't have back end.
Yeah, I don't think he had back-end deals with that.
It's me, Kevin
And besides, I
Spacey.
think that'll make some good streaming, some Kevin Spacey streaming.
I mean,
It's me, American
Kevin Spacey's
Beauty's
a good
Kevin
actor,
Spacey.
though, so it would be kind of interesting to see him in like a COD Blops.
Cod Blops. Was he in a Cod
bet he
Blops
phoned it
because
in.
his character from that Netflix show he had played Call of Duty?
Oh,
Like,
you know
that's
what?
right.
I bet you're right.
Yeah.
Bet
I really
you're
liked
right.
that show, but it felt like a lot of early Netflix shows where it was like, we don't know what we're doing here. We're just making shows. We're just making episodes.
It got
This isn't
exhausting
going anywhere.
Seeing that guy get away with stuff all the time. I was like,
That's
eh.
true. It
And
did
then he
get-
got
House of
away with a
Cards?
bunch of stuff in real life.
And then
Yeah.
also his southern accent was fucking awful. And really, I
Yeah.
can understand why people would not want to watch the show with Kevin Spacey talking like this.
He was
Well, you
doing
can always watch.
like a real Southern gentleman.
You can watch the English House of Cards. That's a good
No, thank
show.
you. I'm
It's
good.
really good.
Well,
I
it's
love.
my.
There's
I
an
like
English House of Cards.
Yeah, the original.
It was the original. I remember it was
Oh.
out on Netflix as well at one point.
It's really good. Anyway, if there does anyone have any little?
You know who you sound like right now? My parents.
What?
Because
I
he
like
thinks
Call
you
of-
should watch English House of Cards.
No, I just,
'Cause-
you know what? I have heard of that. I watched the original, the English version, and I'm good. I'm good.
Your
Well,
parents, what are you talking about? He
the
sounds
first
like me.
season. I watched the first season of the American one. I hated Kevin Spacey even back then. We talked about it on the
I
show.
watched the first episode of the American Broadchurch, and I didn't think it was as good as the English original.
We talk a lot about a lot of things on this show, John.
Yeah,
I cannot be asked to remember them all.
I won't. I promise. All right. Do we all want to level up, or does anyone have a little kernel of news truth for us?
I want Jim to drop some hot gaming news, and I want him to do it right now.
I don't think I
Now.
have any. I don't have any hot gaming news.
3,
Think of
2,
one.
1, go.
I don't have any.
Wasn't there going to be a new? There was going to be a new man. What was a Man of Medan?
A new Dark Pictures game.
Yeah,
comes out,
for the
next
PSVR
Friday.
2.
Oh, there's one for the PSVR 2 now. They
I
had
believe that they have announced it. Yeah.
They had a couple of those for the original PSVR. There was like the
one with the indigenous monsters, and they did like a VR version of that one.
Didn't they have one that was like called The Patient or something like that? That was a VR
maybe.
game.
I've never played VR. I think we talked about that last time.
We talked
so-
about this like
I-
3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I did
let's-
VR
let's-
like a Dave and Buster's a month
So
ago.
what's the one that? What's the Deadly Friend? What are those? Dark Pictures anthology. What's the
Yes.
Dark Pictures anthology that's coming out next week?
It's called The Devil in Me.
I'm scared of it already.
Oh.
It looks like a Saw-esque
Mhm.
serial killer trap thing.
It's about a murder hotel, and that's scary because it really happened in Chicago, and it was gross.
But that was like way back in the 20s.
Yeah, I remember.
That was in the 19th. Wasn't that the 19th? The 19th century, I believe.
It was like 1920s, maybe.
It was around the World's
It
Fair,
was
right?
indeed.
Yeah.
Many people coming into
When
town.
was the Chicago World's Fair?
Mhm.
Oh, was that
Wasn't
the
it like
1900s?
1923?
Oh, I don't know. Google it, people. Google it. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And the
I
Windy
knew it.
City is
Knew it.
Oh,
for the World's
later than I
Fair.
thought. All right. Well, Jim, is that when it's set? Because that'd be really cool. I'd love to see a
No,
Dark
it's like
Pictures set.
modern day.
What was the movie where Josh Hartnett played like a dapper gent? Was he playing not Errol Flynn, but he was playing like Cary Grant or something? And he had that kind of 20s hair, and he looked amazing. Like he looked like just the biggest movie star ever. He looked so good as a 1920s like
He
dapper guy.
he played a character like that in Penny Dreadful.
You talking about Pearl Harbor?
No. Oh, you know what? That was Drunk History.
I thought he was going to say
Cary
it
Grant.
was Pearl Harbor.
But he's
All
such
right.
a good anyway, sorry, I could talk about what a good actor Josh Hartnett is.
He's a
all
good
day.
actor.
He walks through the raindrops. That's him, right? From the Street Fighter Chun-Li movie.
I didn't watch that
Oh
one.
no, that's what's his face from American Pie. Chris something.
Hemsworth?
No, Chris Klein.
Is tired of talking about something that has nothing to do with the Square Roots podcast and wants to talk about things that do have to do with the Square Roots podcast in the form of how we leveled up this week.
All right. Who's going to level up first, Matthew?
I'll go first.
All right.
I, in the past 36 hours, have played an embarrassing amount of God of War Ragnarok. So much God of War Ragnarok. The game was released yesterday. Started playing it yesterday morning. And I'll
4 a.m.
Yeah, let's not gloss over what time you got out of bed to play this game.
I did get out of bed at 4 a.m. to play God of War Ragnarok. I think I probably only have maybe 4 or 5 hours left in the story.
Wow.
And man, the game is so good. The combat, they're always changing up stuff in the combat to keep it fresh, and there's more stuff to do with shields and you get more weapons, and your companions are great, and they all have different like things that they're good at. Like one character you can fight with is really good at applying stun to enemies. One is good at like applying status effects like poison. There's just a lot of variety in the enemy types in the combat, and I like the plot a lot. They're doing lots of cool stuff with Kratos' character. Good game. Recommend.
Is he still a big gruff bear dad?
He's still a big gruff bear dad. Oh, sorry, John, you were going to talk about Thor?
Yeah, is he romanceable?
Not yet.
Okay.
I do
Games
think
were all about like he sleeps with everyone, like a real Witcher.
Not anymore.
In the old games, he did. There was the option to have sex, but mostly he was just like you murdered everyone that you ran into.
In the old games,
newer
there was
God
always
of
like
War was
one
a
room
much better
full
and
of
more
hot
mature
ladies
story.
where you could do
Oh my
a sex
God.
mini game.
Yeah.
And then, but the new one's about like where he's become a dad, and he's sort of okay. Listeners, I know he used to be a dad, but he's a dad again. So
He's a good dad
he's,
now.
he's a
Well,
good
they-
dad.
Good dad,
Well,
soccer dad.
He was a bad dad in the first game.
Yeah, in God of War Ragnarok, they touch on that, and like, whereas like, the God of War 2018 was all about like, who is Kratos as like a father, and how does he reckon with like his awful past? This one is more of like, okay, we know who Kratos is as a dad, but like, how is he responding to his son Atreus like becoming a man with his own like stuff that he
Deal?
wants to do? Yeah. And there's just a lot of good plot that comes out of it, and it takes really everything from the first game and makes it relevant. It's really good, and you get a lot more. You get a lot more talk from your companions. Like there's a whole backstory for the dwarves that you get to experience. A bunch of stuff with like Freya and her marriage to Odin and her brother Freyr.
I know one thing to make Vanessa interested in this game.
Huh?
I don't know if you've seen the cutscene where he's introduced, but like the big villain of the game is not only voiced by Richard Schiff, aka Toby from The West
I
Wing.
know who Richard
but
Schiff
it's
is. Don't patronize me.
Oh, I was saying it for the listeners.
Okay.
But also modeled after him. So just Toby just walks in.
It is Richard Schiff. Like he comes on screen and you're like, oh my gosh, that's Richard Schiff.
That's pretty fantastic. I am definitely
Richard Schiff
into
plays
that.
Odin.
And Odin is sort of like a cross between Toby from The West Wing and a little bit of like a slightly menacing Godfather type.
Interesting.
Yeah, Odin is a really interesting character, and so is Thor.
My husband.
Yeah, Thor's voice actor is also really good. I can't remember his name, but he's, for all those people that watched Sons of Anarchy when that was on, he played the big bearded guy in Sons of Anarchy named Opie.
Let me Google that while you're talking.
His name's like Ryan something, I think. But he's really good. In fact, all of the voice acting is really good. I'm really, really, really enjoying the game.
I think that they did like captures as well, because I'd like to see some footage of Richard Schiff in a dot suit.
Yeah, no, like it is. He did the mocap, and they did the facial modeling after Richard. Like Odin looks like Richard Schiff.
I think
Yeah,
Richard
it's like really
Schiff
crazy.
It's Richard Schiff with an eye patch on.
He is one of the best actors. I really think
He
that.
is.
I saw him once in a one-man play. What do you think about that?
Oh, I liked watching him get eaten by a T-Rex in the Lost World Jurassic Park.
Spoilers.
Wait, wasn't that the first one? The lawyer
No,
gets
that was
eaten
the
by the
second one.
T-Rex in the first one for sure.
Yeah, he's in his like little hidey hole thing while the trailer is dangling over the cliff in the second one, and then he gets eaten by the T-Rexes.
Okay.
When he goes to help, right?
Oh. So who played the lawyer in the first one? Was that the
Just some
doctor?
weasel guy.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the
Weasel
doctor from
guy.
Voyager.
Just some weasel guy.
I'm sure it was some perfectly nice person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I've been kind of in the mood to rewatch West Wing. I love the West Wing, even
Me
if it's
too.
hard to watch after.
It's a good ass show.
After the past 6 years, it's been hard
Yeah.
to watch.
Whenever people bring up the West Wing, I'm reminded of my favorite tweet, which is, "Yeah, I like Sorkin my own dick."
I watched The West Wing for the first time after Trump was elected, and it was a very soothing show to watch.
Sometimes around the holidays, I'll watch like the Christmas episodes on Christmas or the Thanksgiving episodes on Thanksgiving. Maybe I'll do that this year.
I'm too busy watching Star Trek Enterprise.
I started rewatching. Anyway, actually, I'll talk about that.
Okay, yeah, that's how I leveled up. Matt, how did you level up?
I watched 2 great movies that Jim recommended to me, and I want to talk about them both.
Oh.
Have you guys heard about the movie Orphan First to Kill?
Yeah, Jim talked about it.
That sounds amazing. I want
Isn't
to
it
watch
great?
it. Maybe we could
You
do
need to watch
another.
it.
We could do another commentary on that. Maybe.
It
that would be
was
fun.
a legit fun horror movie. Like
Yeah.
I had a blast. The twists kept coming. They were crazier and crazier. I laughed so hard I cried. It was a good time. I definitely recommend checking out Orphan First to Kill. It's on Paramount Plus. It's dumb AF, but really fun. I also watched then that same evening, on a recommendation from Jim, I watched a movie called Host.
Oh, so
And
good.
So my former stepdaughter was here for the weekend, and she likes watching horror movies. We were watching horror movies. We watched Orphan First Kill. We had a good time. My son, who I feel like is maybe a little young for it, but really wanted to stick around, he watched Orphan First Kill with us. He also loved it. He told me several times it wasn't scary at all. Then we watched Host. It terrified my son out of the room. And my stepdaughter.
Oh,
But it's good.
And I fucking loved it. It's only 55 minutes, so it barely counts as a movie, by the way.
Yeah.
It is a movie where that is set in a bunch of houses via a Zoom call during the pandemic, and some friends decide to have a Zoom seance. And I felt it reminded me in a lot of ways of Tarantino's Death Proof.
You say that about every
in
horror
that-
movie.
In that, I mean, I said that about Barbarian.
Yeah.
Because Barbarian did the same thing.
Yeah.
But not in the same way, to be honest with you. It reminded me of Tarantino's, or a Tarantino movie in general, but Death Proof in particular, in that it was a horror movie where you get to know the characters intimately well just via conversation. And I really fucking enjoyed it. I really liked it. And then when things start going wrong, it really does so much with so little. It is terrifying. It really is. Now, by the end of it, I was getting a little bored. Like, the movie hit a point where it was like, you know what's coming.
It definitely uses the Zoom format to full effect, I think.
I wish that our Zoom calls were that dramatically perfect. Like, it knew when to cut between gallery and close-ups. way better than Zoom actually does. But anyway, it's great and it's short. That's its host. I think I rented it for $2, $1 maybe, and it was it was $1.
Yeah.
And it was well worth it. Tense, not a lot of, just the types of, we've talked about horror a lot lately, so just the type of things that I like. A lot of tension and atmosphere, not a lot of unnecessary, gory, drawn out deaths, and a lot of, but very scary. Very scary.
It had. I like the kills in it because they are clever and shocking without being super gory. Mm-hmm. Like just the way that they're cut.
There's a few that are pretty brutal.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the guy in particular.
Yes, the guy in particular is horrific.
Yeah.
But it is an absolute dynamite horror movie. Check out Host. That's some good stuff. I am still watching Star Trek Enterprise. Can you believe it?
No.
I didn't think I would make it more than 2 episodes.
Me neither.
It's actually kind of I'm coming around on it. I think it's better than Voyager.
What?
In a lot of ways. Voyager was bad. I don't love the actors, particularly Scott Bakula. Is he good in Quantum Leap? He's not good in Star Trek.
He's fun.
The blandest motherfucker I've ever seen in my entire life on TV.
He's dopey and charming, I would say.
I like the fact that he has a puppy dog on the ship, which is fun, but I hate the fact that the puppy dog's name is Porthos.
What's the fat cat on Discovery named?
Book's cat is named
Book's cat.
Queen or something like that.
Okay.
Or she is the queen. I can't remember what her name is. The actors aren't great. The lead cast kind of bland, but like the premise of the episodes and the premise of the show is pretty good, other than the temporal Cold War stuff, which if you know what that is, I'm sorry. And if you don't, you're welcome. Like, it's not worth talking about. It feels like when they made the show, they felt like they had to have a plug they could pull in case it was super unpopular and they could be like, none of this happened. That's what the temporal Cold War is, and it's annoying. And it does not make the show better. But despite all of those flaws, it's a weirdly engaging show. And I really like their, like, Star Trek, but with shitty technology stuff, you know? It's fun. It works. It's interesting. And then when they run across, like, a ship with shields, and they're like, holy shit, that thing has a force field around it. You're like, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Anyway, that's me. That's how I leveled up. What about you, Johnny?
Well, let's see. I put him in my document here. There's a few things. First, 2 non-gaming things, pretty quick. One is I picked up some chicken last night, or the night before, but I cooked it last night. And I was like, I'll grab some shake and bake. So I saw there's a shake and bake like stack of boxes right near the chicken. So I grabbed one. I didn't notice it wasn't original shake and bake. It was shake and bake barbecue glaze.
Oh,
y'all
gross.
heard about this?
No, that sounds bad.
No, I don't use shake and bake in any way, shape, or form.
Me either.
It's just like herbs and it makes the
I have.
chicken
I know what it
crispy.
is.
It's good.
No, I know.
like it.
I've used it, but it's not something that I pick up.
One time I tried to use
So
shake and
I-
bake, and I took the bag out, and I found it really difficult to get the bag open, but I finally managed to like tear it open, and then I put the chicken in, and I gave it one hearty shake, and it flew right out the other end, because it turns out you're not supposed to tear one of the ends open. One of them just already was.
Wow. No, what I actually
You know what I
do
know
is
about
I
shake
keep
and bake, right, Jim? Give me a little shake.
Uh-huh.
Give me a little shake.
Do I have to do this?
And you have to say and bake.
And bake.
Thank you.
What is this? Isn't this
we're-
like drug talk or something?
We're totally digging
Yeah,
out toys now.
we're talking about drugs.
Talking about Ricky
So,
Bobby.
what I like to do. Oh, is that the NASCAR one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That is sneakily his best
I
movie.
never watched it.
Okay.
Except Step Brothers, which is maybe
What
the
about
best comedy ever
I
made.
do love
Never
Step
watched that.
Step
Brothers.
Brothers is good.
You've
You've never seen
Step
Step Brothers?
Never seen it.
I always
Talladega Nights is the
reference
same
it
cast.
when I talk about Jim and I sharing a room with bunk beds, so there's more space.
No, more room for activities.
I understand.
I
the
actually just
reference.
rewatched that I watched that this weekend with the kids as well, and it's not the first time we've watched it. That movie is just so fucking funny.
It is.
And the best line of the movie is the
Yeah.
very end. I traveled 500 miles to bring you my seed. Lumberjack.
And it has a great performance by Richard Jenkins as the dad.
Adam Scott plays very against type.
What is his type? He has no type. It's just like
Now his- now his-
lovable, nerdy.
Now his type
like-
is mystery man.
Yeah, he's a mystery man.
Mystery sad guy.
International mystery
What about
sad
when
guy.
he was? I liked him as evil scumbag in Good Place.
Oh yeah, see, he did that too.
Oh yeah, he does do that. His role in Step Brothers is very similar.
Wasn't
Yeah.
fake John Cusack in Hot Tub Time Machine 2?
Well, I sure didn't watch those movies.
I've seen the first Hot Tub Time Machine, but not the second one. The first one has Crispin Glover as he's one-armed like hotel bellhop, and when they go back in time, he has two arms, and they're all so afraid whenever he does something with his missing arm that's when he's gonna lose it, and it's like one of my favorite bits. So funny.
So the trick is, Vanessa.
Yeah.
I always keep. Well, I keep it for usually for kitty litter related reasons. I keep like
shake
bread
and
bags around. No, the bread. I keep bread bags around, and I use those instead of the tiny little
Bread
shake and bake
bags?
bags because they're a
Oh.
lot easier. And
that's
you can
smart.
like shake better.
Yeah,
And they're
that's
not
really clever.
Although actually today or last night at the barbecue. So it's like a powder, and there was a little hole in the bread bag, and so I shaked it. It did like poof a little bit against my shirt. So it turns out when you cook it, I guess the fat from the skin as it cooks comes to the surface, and then it's like a dehydrated barbecue sauce that like, so it becomes like a glaze.
That
It's
sounds
really
disgusting.
weird.
Interesting. Was it good?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I
mean-
still like I like an original shake and bake better. But the only downside was, it tasted pretty good. It was good barbecue chicken, but my whole apartment now smells of barbecue sauce. Normally it just smells of like herbs if you cook a shake and bake in your place, but now it's barbecue sauce.
Oh.
Which is not
shake
a
and bake's
good
okay. I think it's a little too salty.
I like really salty food. It's a weakness.
I don't
of mine.
understand what Jim just said. Did I black out? What had just happened?
Too
Said it was
salty
too
for
salty.
me.
What? That's not. I don't understand what's happening.
You don't understand the word too salty?
No.
That's my hip hop name too. Is Too Salty.
Oh, okay.
But it's the number 2.
You know what's not too salty? Pringles.
A little too
They're just
salty.
A little
Oh,
lick of
Pringles
that
are perfect.
underside of the salt on the. I'm trying to gross out Matthew.
It works.
So, the other thing
really works.
I've been going around like pharmacies and convenience stores asking about Fisherman's Friends everywhere.
It's a
And they're
drug-seeking
like-
behavior, John.
Everyone was like, thinks that I'm speaking in code. They're like, "What? A fisherman? What do you want?" And I'm like, "No, a fisherman's friend." And they just like look at me, and I'm like, it's the little package. It's like a throat. Oh, we have Halls. I'm like, no, it's not Halls. It
It's
works
like on-
much better than Halls.
John, have you
It's
tried
like
looking
on-
have you tried looking on Amazon?
Well, that's what I was getting to. So
It's
what
like
I
on
was
really?
John, your like code word thing. It's like on Craigslist when people say they want to go rock climbing, but they really
no.
want to smoke meth.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be about climbing them rocks.
So
What
You know
would
what I
that
mean?
even mean? What are the rocks?
Climbing
So
each
I went
other's
to
rocks.
Amazon and I bought like one of those commercial packages of Fisherman's Friends. So now I have hundreds of Fisherman's
Oh,
Friends.
cool.
So I'm good. But I gotta say, you know how Halls makes it seem like it's really gonna clear out your sinuses and make you breathe better, but it doesn't really do get jack shit. Fisherman's Friend actually does what Halls says it does. And
Wow.
so buy Fisherman's Friend. It's way better. You have to get it imported from Bristol now. I guess they don't sell it in Canada anymore, but whatever. Also, I've been playing.
By the way, if any Fisherman's Friends employees are listening to
Yeah.
the show, we'd love to be sponsored by Fisherman's Friends.
I use it. I love it. So after Jim told me, or not, no, it wasn't Jim. Jim likes Batman. What was it? Arkham Knight.
Oh, yeah, I like Arkham Knight.
Narcum Knight,
everyone else told me that
where
one's
you
bad.
knock out all of Batman's villains.
Everyone
Batman's
else
the
told me it was
ultimate narc,
bad.
really, isn't he?
It's true.
And Vanessa said I should play Arkham City, so
Yeah.
I installed that. I didn't have to even buy it. I bought it like 10 years ago. And so I load up my save from 10 years ago, because you know how Steam saves follow you around. And I've been playing it. And you know what? If you've had a little bit of intoxication
Fisherman's
of... Yeah, if you've been seeing
After you've gone
Fisher-
rock climbing.
Climb some rocks.
I do not encourage rock climbing, but let's say after you went to the garage or had a couple of beers, doing those Enigma, what's his name? The guy with the little question
Riddler?
marks. Getting those Riddler statues while you're pleasantly intoxicated is so fun. Yeah,
I agree. That's why I got all of them in Arkham Knight.
I got so many of them the other night just because I was sitting there like, ooh, there's another one. I did clear
You
out
get that bat tank
Zelda. No.
No bat
Is
tank
there a
in
bat
City.
tank in?
He's playing
Oh,
City.
your city.
Yeah, Vanessa's convincing to play City. Why does I mean, we talked about it before, but like in City, in Arkham Knight, Poison Ivy's just got that like. I don't think women can actually walk like that. I mean, I know
It's
she's not.
Catwoman in City is the one that I remember being
Did you ever see that
egregious.
that video
All
where
the
they
women in those
swapped
games are
the
bad.
walk cycle between Batman and the
Yeah.
animation between Batman and Catwoman? It's amazing because he's just like so
It's gross.
slinky.
Oh,
It's
it's
so
fucking
good.
gross.
Vanessa, how did you level up?
I did a few things. I went to.
I don't believe that.
I did, and I sent you photographic proof. I went to like a circus sideshow event, and
What?
there were lots of circus
Oh.
performers. There was a hula hoop lady.
Clowns? An elephant?
There wasn't an elephant.
Lion tamer?
No. It was more just
A strong
like,
man.
No. There was a sword swallower.
Jim Rose.
Juggler.
There was a juggler. There was a hula hoop lady.
Whoa.
There was someone on cloth. What's that thing
Tightrope
called?
walkers?
No tightrope walkers, but some like a
Was there a sword swallower?
yes.
Oh, sweet.
And
You already said that.
and a
It sounds like you went to some cheap Cirque du Soleil knockoff.
it kind
No,
of
she went to Jim Rose Circus.
it was free. It was like in a park. It was like Park Circus Park Night.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was a beautiful night. Lots of people out and about, and it felt pretty good now that the weather's a little bit cooler to be out in the world. Except later that evening, I did have an anxiety attack, so I went home.
Wow.
Oh. Oh.
That's not
It
good.
happens like once a year to me, I would say, something like that. But I am fortunate to have very cool and understanding friends who understand that sometimes that happens to me. And so I go home. But yeah, I guess it's sort of like being very drunk. Because my vision gets blurry and I get dizzy and I stumble around and it just looks like I'm sloshed out of my mind. But it's just natural adrenaline. So fun. So after that, I decided to stay home and watch some movies instead of going out the next day. I watched a movie called See How They Run.
Is that good?
I liked it.
How did they run?
I thought they ran rather well. It stars Sam Rockwell and I'm not going to say it right. Saoirse Ronan? Did I say it right?
Vanessa, remember that time?
Swarcy Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan?
Vanessa, remember that time that driver saw how I ran and then like stopped to laugh?
Yes. Johnny and I were crossing a street, and it was like a FedEx driver or something like that. Slowed down so we could stop, and I started walking across the street all cool like I do, and Johnny went into full frightened traipse mode. He flung his arms up and was flapping his hands back and forth and was traipsing across the street. And the driver, I think, honked his horn a little bit. He was like, boop, boop, and starts laughing. He really enjoyed it a lot. Anyway, this movie is set in the 1950s. It is a murder comedy movie. If you're into Agatha Christie in particular, you'll probably be into this. It is a humorous take on the genre.
Oh, it was Agatha all along.
If you aren't into old-timey murders, you might not really pick up on what they're spoofing. It has a great cast. It also has Ruth Wilson and Tim Key, who you may know from such TV shows as Taskmaster Season 1.
I've been watching that.
Yeah, set in London. I also watched a movie called Weird, the Weird Al Yankovic Story.
Ooh, I need to finish that. Maybe I'll
that.
do that after we record this. I'll finish that movie.
It's very good. Zero complaints. Fantastic time. I watched it with Vanessa's mom, who is not necessarily a Weird Al fan. But there was one scene in it where as soon as it was over, she demanded I rewind the movie so she could watch that particular scene again. And I don't remember that happening ever. Like, ever. But she thought it was one of the best things that she had seen. It also has my one true love, David Dastmalchian, a.k.a. the Polkabot Man.
Ooh, you know what? I should watch that with my mom when I go visit in a couple
that's a
weeks.
great
She
idea.
loves Weird Al.
That's a great idea, yeah.
It's a really good movie to watch with moms.
It's freaking hilarious,
It's
too.
freaking
Oh my gosh.
hilarious. 10 out of 10. And if you like comedy podcasts, and if you're listening to this, you might, there's a veritable who's who of the LA comedy podcast scene featured in that movie.
A lot of cameos.
A lot of cameos, a lot of, I don't even know if you'd call them cameos necessarily. I saw Scott Aukerman tweeting about how nobody recognized him.
Because he was playing a cop and it looked nothing like Scott Aukerman. But I guess it was.
Yeah, so I don't know if
Very
that
gracious
counts
of you
as a
to
cameo or not.
Does Paul
very
F.
gracious of
Tompkins
you
show
to
up?
refer to us as a comedy podcast.
I didn't say we were a comedy podcast. I said if you like this, you might enjoy comedy podcasts.
I mean, unintentional comedy.
Can I interject something weird that just happened?
Yeah.
I was sitting here and I started smelling something like perfumey. And I'm in again, as you all can see, I am in a closet with a blanket over the door. And I got up and I went and grabbed a beer and I was like, what is that smell? Oh, we figured it out. We were drying Haley's perfume in the dryer.
So it must have permeated the whole house and certainly the whole dryer.
Yeah, it's fucking in my bedroom, in my closet somehow.
Wow.
I'm gonna smell real good for a few weeks.
Yeah, people are going to be like, wow, you smell like a teenage girl. You'll be like, thank you. That's exactly what I was going for.
Some old lady smelling perfumes, to be honest with you.
She's swagging around in Chanel No. 5?
No, just very floral and fragrant, flowery, not sweet or candy or.
Yeah, I thought teens
Are they
were
like
supposed
essential
to
oils?
smell like strawberries or something.
Yeah. Baby powder.
Yeah.
No, she likes the grandma stuff.
No way. I like a musky
Weird.
smell. If it smells like a damp forest, that's what I want to smell like.
That's why you're Auntie Vanessa.
Yep,
Yeah, I have
You
one
and Haley
called
both
Wood.
hate to bathe.
we do.
Pardon me. I use D squared wood, and that is a wonderful smelling, slightly musky, woodsy scent. It's a very masculine scent.
I want to smell like a man,
me-
but I want to smell like maybe a man has been nearby me recently.
That's
not gonna happen.
Musky male scents to me always smell like poop.
Yeah, I don't like super musky scents.
I like woodsy.
When somebody calls
more
something a
than musky.
masculine scent, that to me says this smells bad.
It's gonna smell like
it's-
tobacco and something
It
else.
smells good. I'll send you a bottle. It's Canadian.
Yeah, do it. I want some cologne. I don't fucking have any. All right, so anyway.
I don't wear cologne.
Yeah, I don't really either.
Maybe you would if you had
Am I?
some nice cologne.
I do have nice
getting old.
cologne, but I don't like wearing
don't.
it. I do.
You
You don't
don't.
have
Nobody
nice
believes
anything.
you.
I have a
fingers shut.
daughter, and if you're a dad, you're going to get some cologne for Christmas or your birthday at least one time. And I have some pretty decent cologne.
You also get neckties and things that say "I love fishing" on them.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready to talk about my favorite restaurant?
No.
It's time for medieval times.
That's your favorite restaurant?
Well, no,
Yeah.
that was just a joke.
It's his favorite restaurant, but he only goes
yeah,
for the
it's my
food.
favorite.
He doesn't like. He's
I've
not
never
into the
been-
show.
I like the wenches. I like how they're called wenches, and you can call them wenches.
I've never been to one of those, but there's one in Dallas.
I went to
I
the one
drive
in
by it
Dallas
all
when
the
I was a
time.
kid. It's the only time I've ever been. Maybe I went once or twice as a kid,
never
and
been.
I actually did really fucking like it when I was a kid.
I've heard
like,
it's
it was
cool.
fun watching all that fucking jousting and stuff. Like it's as clearly fake as television wrestling. Just don't get it twisted. Ain't nothing about it that you're gonna be like, oh, but like it's fun. I would go again if the closest one was not in Orlando, and I don't ever want to go.
The one in Dallas is massive. You drive by it, it looks like you're driving by like a federal prison. It's huge.
Yeah, man. They got stables there and shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's like space. Anyway, who wants to talk about the quest log? I'm sorry, the chapter select screen is what we're calling it this time.
Yay! I do. Because you start off in medieval times, finally, and I was like, oh, this looks like the most generic-y JRPG
Yeah.
I've ever played.
I thought
And
it was,
gotta say-
I think it's pretty. It's a nice looking
But
level.
it is
It's okay.
super
It
generic.
like has no
It's just
character
not
though.
great.
Yeah, there's no character
not
to it.
And I was a little disappointed
not
until I realized they're kind of doing that on purpose. They're playing a little trick on
Yeah.
you. They're playing a little trick on you.
This is also the first chunker that's just straight up had random turn-based battles, and they're not
Yep.
fun.
Nope. But I can see why, at least for the final chapter portion, because you need the opportunity to be able to level up unlimited, I guess.
I mean, you were able to level up in other...
Yeah, I don't know. I
areas
do
without
wish there weren't
this.
random encounters, but
I didn't
it
mind it
makes
so much
sense
in
with a
medieval
couple of-
times, but since, as you said, it carries over to the final chapter, that's where I was like, fuck me. Though I guess
But
it actually
it
makes more
does-
sense there, because at least they can throw in enemies from every... Well, we'll get there.
Yeah. So, medieval times. You are Oersted.
Uh-oh, hang on, guys.
Yeah.
Why has this guy got an O and a D in his name?
We'll find out.
But he's a good
Some
guy.
pretty heavy foreshadowing. Yeah, he's super
Yeah.
great. He does not speak. It's very intentionally the silent protagonist trope
For a while. And
for the whole chunker.
it does start with the king says, hey, here's Oersted, my champion, and here's Streibough.
Streibough.
Streibough. And
I'm sure somebody said it at some point, but I don't remember.
yeah, it's Streibough.
Hang on. Whoa, we've gone too far. We have a problem.
What?
We need to discuss who finished this chunker.
I didn't.
Jim,
I played too much God of War.
Jim, you have to read the notes this time. You read the notes and
No,
pretend like
'cause
you
I
know
won't
what
be
you're
able to
talking
do
You
it
don't
about.
understand the context.
I did watch a playthrough of this final chunker this afternoon, but that's all that I was able to do. But Kratos just demanded so much of my time.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish I had bailed at the end of this. This chunker does not do it for me. It was not
the
fun.
only problem. So the problem with this chunker is that there's, especially medieval times, not a whole lot of story, and well, both of them, not a whole lot of story. But the first three chunkers took me 20 hours to play. This chunker took me 14 hours to play.
That's wild.
I mean, I had a similar experience last season, so I guess I can't really talk smack here, but certainly it did not take me 14 hours. Like maybe 6 or 8 hours.
Right. I'm slow. I can be slow at these games.
There's
sometimes.
a lot of optional content, and it depends on how much of
that's
it you
true,
choose to
yeah.
take advantage of.
And also a few endings
Yep.
based on your choices, so the game can kind of
We
go
all
on
got
a
different
bit.
endings, so that's exciting.
I'm
I think
excited to
Vanessa
talk
and
about the
I-
endings.
Well, yeah, Vanessa and I got
Did you guys
one
get the true
shared
ending?
ending. Yes, but Vanessa also did. Well, yeah, okay. So
Okay.
I did not.
We'll
Because
find
mine ended
out.
with "The cycle continues."
Oh my god!
And I was like, "What?
I want to
I'm
talk
not
about
playing any
I
more
wanna,
of this," and I immediately uninstalled the game.
I want to talk about the bad ending.
we aren't
I wanna
even
talk
there
about the
yet.
bad ending.
No.
All right, well,
Hold
let's
on.
just talk about the ending and then get into
I
our
know,
emails.
well, not
you know?
right now. I mean, eventually.
So, one thing I did like, there's a little reference when the tournament starts to a game called either Sword of Mana or Adventure of Mana
Final
or
Fantasy
Final Fantasy
Adventure?
Adventure, where the king says, "Now fight," which is a reference to that game.
Was it?
Yeah, I believe so. 'Cause
And you
that's how
fight some boys, and it's
Yeah,
not hard, and you
so,
beat them.
So you and this other guy, Streibough, are fighting just random jerks, and Streibough and you kill your each target, and then Streibough
This made me
kills
laugh so hard.
Watanabe's father, and Watanabe does come. And I thought for these tournaments they weren't going to be fatal, but little Watanabe comes in and is like, "No, father!" There's like a little crying kid, and they drag the bodies away, and
Yeah, that cracked me up.
it's just the little crying animation. Oh, it's so
Oh,
sad.
when the tears are like pouring out of his eyes, it's really funny.
And once you murder this man, then the king forces you and your buddy Streibough to fight.
And but I guess this one's not a fight to the death for some reason. But he's pretty weak, so it was an easy fight.
Yeah.
And then the king's like, "Wow, you did it. You defeated Streibough. You don't kill him. But that's wonderful. You'll now be my son-in-law because you won the heart of my daughter, the wonderful Princess Alethea."
Listen, I have some things to say. The real villain of this game is the patriarchy. And we'll get into it a little bit later, but if this dad king wasn't just going around giving away his daughter like some kind of possession or prize to be won, then none of this shit would have ever happened.
It's true.
It's fun how you're trained to not by this game, but just by
the
JRPGs
patriarchy.
in general. You're trained
And the
to
patriarchy.
expect a silent protagonist, but when you kind of revisit it, you can see that so this guy almost kills his best friend and then wins the princess's hand in
Is there
marriage.
I mean, there's
says
some lines of
not
dialogue
a single
at the end.
fucking word the whole time.
There's some dialogue at the end that I guess says that Streibough and Oersted had a previous relationship, but it's not only until way late in this chapter do you find that out.
I got the impression
Yeah.
that they were I definitely got the impression from this very beginning that they were.
Yeah, it wasn't
like buddies.
explicit, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Streibough then shows up 2 minutes later once the game starts and is like, "I'll come with you because you're my best friend." What are you guys talking about?
I guess.
And when you beat
so-
him, he's like, "It's fine. You're cool. I love you."
But Alethea is like, "Oh, huh, okay, that's like she's written with hesitation about this whole idea."
She's like, I've seen your skills and you'll be a great king.
And then you two are on the balcony. It's a real ghouls and ghosts kind of situation because and she's like, "Oh, don't think of me as a mere child anymore. Now I am a woman and I'm yours." And
she says,
then,
"I swear there's no other man that I love more than you, not my father or anyone else. You're first in my heart."
But that seemed...
the dialogue is very Shakespearean, Ieth will pledgeth myself
No.
to
Yeah.
you and
Really?
you alone.
Not really.
It's
I
a
thought it
little
was.
elevated.
Nope.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's some like regal
It
phrasing.
definitely is fucking phrased weird.
It's not
Yeah.
like
certainly not just
Prithee,
like
thou
oh,
arst
okay.
mine
I guarantee
husband.
you, she does not say okay at all.
But she does. I wondered. Well, you know what? We can sort
It's
of
very
talk
like
around it.
romantic-y language.
It almost feels like she was using a code word here to be like, okay, it's ready. It's time for us to kiss, husband. Time to drop in and kiss. And then suddenly a monster drops in and tries to grab her, and you fight that monster. But unfortunately, you also give her just the worst shove, which I realize now is sort of what do you call that?
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing, yeah.
Which is foreshadowing, maybe, because he like shoves her out of the
To
way.
save her.
And sure. And to fight the monster, and then when you turn around, this robed orco-looking red-eye jerk is floating away with her, saying, "Wah ha 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 ha." This must mean that the Dark Lord has reawakened.
Mm-hmm.
The Dark Lord Odie from Garfield.
They don't call him Odie. They don't call him.
No, they
anything
just
like
call
that,
him
do they?
the Dark Lord.
The Dark
That's what
Lord.
they call
Oh,
him.
okay. Okay.
Nope.
So not the Dark Lord Odie from Garfield. Well, you know, the king's like, yeah, this actually technically happened before, but I thought we defeated it. We like this hero, this big old hero, and his priest buddy went to the Archon's Roost a long time ago. Like, see that mountain over there? That's the one I'm talking about.
Archon's Roost, by the way.
Yeah. That's where the bad guy was, and it's still here, but they murdered him years ago. So it's weird that he's back. Maybe you should go like look for those guys or fight the Archon. I don't know, do whatever you want. It kind of just like lets you do whatever you want at this point. However, you can turn on in this game's options. I don't know if we talked about that before. It sort of gives you the option to turn on a orange dot for where you should go. And
Oh yeah, I use that all the time.
Didn't know that you. I didn't turn that on. That was just on.
yeah, I think there's an
Yeah,
option
I
to turn
don't-
it off.
Oh,
think.
gotcha. Okay, I was say that was just on for me the whole time.
I could not play this game without that for sure.
Yeah, that made this game a lot more enjoyable.
If you played it
for
without
me.
it, it would be like a real renting this from Blockbuster and not knowing what you're doing 90s experience.
Yeah.
So if you want to feel like what it's like to be a teen in the 90s, turn that orange dot off.
Like, imagine doing the spaceship chapter without that orange thing telling you where to go.
You know, but that does remind me of playing old games.
Yeah, yeah,
it's
that's true.
exactly where you're like spend 2 hours trying to figure out what to do next.
Like
and-
who to talk
yeah.
to next. Like, what if you're playing an old broken sword or something?
I didn't
Yeah.
realize that
Yeah.
orange dot was telling me where to go until like the last chapter, so I basically did play it without the
Oh
orange dot.
no! Oh no!
It wasn't so bad.
Yeah. There's actually in Xenoblade 3, there's the option, and it is something you can turn on and off, and is
No
default
spoilers for
off.
our next game.
That's not the next game. It does have like a Fable style breadcrumb or like a Dead Space style
Glitter trail.
like line you can follow.
Oh, that's
I
great.
mean,
yeah.
Xenoblade 1 has that. It's not in the game. It's on the mini map, but
Yeah, like
has
the
a
previous ones
breadcrumb
have the
trail for you
mini
to
map
follow.
version, but it doesn't have the literal trail. like
that's too much,
3
man.
has.
Fable 3 is a
that's
great
too
game.
much.
That breadcrumb thing is obnoxious.
But you
Yeah.
can turn it
I-
off in Fable 3
I
as
like
well.
the like Dead Space one where you can it's just like an action that your character can do, and it will light up the path like depending on what your objective is. The one in God of War is also really good because it's a compass that like instead of like pointing to your objective, it points out the next like leg of the path that you need to take to get
Right.
to the objective because there's so many branching paths, so it will like lead you to the middle of an intersection and then it will shift to tell you like
Right.
where to go. And that's like I think the best version of it that I've seen.
So this at this point, I actually didn't follow the breadcrumb trail or the orange dot. I didn't follow it, and I went to the village first, and you just see the old priest like talking to himself.
I did too.
I did too.
I was like, well, let's see what's up there. When did you, so was it this chapter that you figured out that the orange dot means go here,
No,
Vanessa?
it wasn't until, well,
The final chapter?
yeah, I think so.
What?
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty dumb.
I guess so.
No.
No, I think we should agree with her
Yeah.
on this. It's
Uh-uh.
pretty
We always
dumb.
thought I was the
Jim
smart
and I
one,
referenced
but
it
now
like 2 episodes
I'm
ago.
pretty
Yeah.
dumb. Yeah, they don't listen to you guys.
But we were on this. We did it on the show.
Huh,
Yeah, but she's playing Disney Dreamlight.
I am.
Yeah, she was busy playing Disney Dreamland.
We're playing Disney Dreamland.
So, so you instead have to follow the orange dot all the way up the hero's last rest. I don't remember what it's called. The mountain. There's a gravestone there that you can look at that says the hero is dead. But if you go to a cabin, there's a big beefy bear. Human.
This
bear.
was really weird. So, like, you go to the headstone, and it was like, yeah, this guy's dead. And then you just get a line of dialogue from one of the characters that's like, I heard there's a
Streibough.
cabin around here. Yeah, he's like, I heard there's a cabin around here.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
So you go to the cabin, and there's a big bear boy there, and he doesn't want to talk to you. He just goes like ... and walks away like a real jerk. And he ignores you. You do notice there's a wonderful, like, super fancy shield on the wall. And then you head down to the village for some reason because orange dot tells you to go there. And there's you go to the village, and you notice in the priest guy's house there's another shield like that. And Steinberg says, "Look at that shield." And
Talking about Streibough?
Yeah, Streibough says, "Look at that that
Steinberg.
Look at that shield." And Priesties says, "Oh, that shield. What do you know about shields? So you've seen another shield like it, just like my old friend Hash had." And you're like, "Yeah, he's there in his own cabin. He doesn't want to talk to anyone." He's like, "Well, I'll go talk to him. Maybe we can get him to come since the Dark Lord is apparently reawakened." Whoopsie doodle. So you bring Barbara Streisand and the priest over to the cabin up in the mountains again. And wouldn't you know it, the priest negs. He really does neg Hash into coming with you.
Yeah, he's like, check you out up here in your cabin. You suck. Guess, like, so much for being a hero. You're the worst. And then hero guy is like, I saved a bunch of people, and then I started hanging out with people, and I realized that people suck. So I don't want to save anyone anymore. And he's like, yeah, because you can't do it, because you suck. Boo on you.
He got successful.
This is very
turned
thematically
Republican.
relevant to the end of the game, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because you do get
Is it?
because you do get a big like speech from the priest that's like, I'm afraid for my friend. When you start like rejecting other people, your heart can become dark, and there's like a whole speech, and then
That's actually Hash says that when he's coughing up lots of blood in 2 minutes.
no, you're like the priest does say it.
In the jail cell too, I guess.
Yeah, that is in the jail cell, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you go over to you drag Hero Man to Archon's Roost. He's like, "Yeah, fine. You neg. I'm only doing it because you negged me. Because people are just they learn helplessness if you don't let them fail. So there should be no social support or heroes helping them."
Yeah.
I don't like Hash.
He's like up on the
Hash
roof,
sucks.
and he's like, and they will whisper, "Save us," and I'll whisper back, "Yeah."
No.
It's like, ugh.
Exactly. He's a real
If Alan Moore
Rorschach.
didn't want me to love Rorschach and think he was the greatest superhero ever, he shouldn't have made him so cool. You know?
Wait, but didn't he explode Rorschach at the end because he was a piece of shit?
He exploded
He
Rorschach
exploded.
because he was so principled, and he.
He exploded Rorschach because Rorschach discovered his plot and was
Rorschach
going to tell everybody.
Rorschach just believed in the truth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Rorschach's like the
okay.
Elon Musk
That's
of the
been a-
Watchmen, really.
Yeah,
That's been a thing recently, I guess, and I suppose that none of you would have seen it because you don't get the same nerdy news sites I do for some of this stuff. But I think Alan
I wanna
Moore
hear
came
it.
out in an interview with something along the lines of like, "I can't believe that people like Rorschach. He's supposed
I saw
to be,
that. Yeah.
he's supposed to be an unlikable piece of shit." And
Yeah.
but he's a Batman, and like he says Batman-like stuff, and that's all it takes for some people. to be
Yeah.
like, Rorschach's the hero of this story.
Well, it's like Archie Bunker. Now, whenever you see people posting Archie Bunker memes, they're presenting it as if Archie Bunker was right and not supposed to be the Cartman of All in the Family.
Yeah.
Because that's how he's thought of now. It's like, oh, everything he said was wise and true. No, he was supposed to be a big idiot.
Yeah.
But people now look back and are like, oh, yeah, Archie Bunker was right. No, that's not what the show was about.
Funny.
But
That's
people
Watchmen
don't
in a nutshell.
yeah.
always take a piece of media that you make with a big point about how a character is a piece of shit. People
Yeah.
sometimes are like, oh, what a piece of shit. I love him and he has great views.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but people do that with everything. They're like, Darth Vader is the coolest. It's like Darth Vader
Oh,
sucks.
yeah.
Darth Vader is the coolest. Cool is not the same thing as good.
Yeah.
Even Lucas clearly tried to course correct there by having Anakin Skywalker literally murder a room full of fucking children.
Yep. The younglings. Anyway, so you head over to Archon's Roost and you're fighting some monsters and stuff to get through. They are very easy. But when you go through this room full of statues that's pretty cool. And you're like, hey, those statues look a little familiar. They look like versions, like there's someone from obviously the future because there's a guy with a Gatling gun. And there's the head from that you fought in Captain Square.
Mm-hmm.
All
This
those
is really
bosses
cool.
are there.
There's Mr.
Yeah.
So all the
Frog.
Odios.
Odio
All the
O'Neill is
Odios.
there. Whatever his name was. Was it Odio
And-
O'Neill?
Odio Death?
Odio.
Was his name Odio Death? I forget what the name of the cowboy one was.
What's the fighter guy?
Cowboy is Odio.
Yeah, just like Odio. I thought
Oh.
fighter guy
Uh,
was Odio O'Neill, but
Odio Death. He was Odio Death,
okay.
I think.
Oh, he was a what?
Odio Death?
Odio Bright.
Oh, Bright. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bright,
it wasn't Death. It
yeah.
was Bright. It was O
Right.
apostrophe Odio. Bright.
Yeah. So you head through the next room, and there's just a statue of like the Dark Lord there, and then Hash has a little tummy problem because he starts. I wouldn't just say coughing up blood. He starts spewing blood.
It's like pouring out of him.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
It's pretty grody.
He's like, by the
He
way,
pukes
when
blood
I
for
said
quite
I
some
couldn't
time.
do it, I meant I really couldn't. I'm super sick, y'all.
Wow.
And he sort of talks about how he hated how helpless people became with the hero. He hated how they treated him like a big hero and then didn't save themselves. And he does a real Rorschach and then
I don't know.
dies.
I mean-
no, he's not that bad. He's not that bad.
You're not wrong, but at the same time, like his point is more like these people expected me to solve all their problems, and all I did was
Yeah.
kill a man.
Yeah.
I can't solve.
Yeah,
your
I think
problems.
part of it was that he didn't feel like he was a big hero in the first place, and but he also became sick of seeing little people not helping themselves, and so it's sort of a understandable but still negative viewpoint that he adopted. And then he dies, and there's nothing else there. There was no Dark Lord. There was just no one there.
But there is a
but-
trap.
Oh no! And Streisand's like, "Hey, you better look out! This roof is caving in." And you run out of the room, except that Starburns does not get out in time, and does get you hear him get crushed by a bunch of rocks.
He's like,
And
oh.
And so you got to run out of the dungeon before everything collapses. And then you're like, well, I don't know what to do now, but Orange Dot's telling us to go back to the castle. So you head back to the castle, and the king's like, hey, so no daughter, huh? Oh, well, hopefully you get Alethea back soon. Have a little nappy nap in the nap room, and we'll talk about it soon. So you go to bed, wake up in the middle of the night, and you see that Dark Lord Orko floating there with the red eyes.
In the throne room.
And well, he like floats out of your bedroom into the throne room. You see him there in the throne room, and you fight him, and he's really wimpy.
Super
just
wimpy.
like 64 hit points.
Yeah.
But it turns out that wasn't the Dark Lord. It was a trick. You killed the king.
It was a fun prank.
Yep.
What a fun prank.
King Slayer.
And
this is not
the
good.
advisor walks in and he's like, hey, what happened to the king? Also, what's up with your bloody sword? And everyone kind of freaks out, but they don't do anything. Like, they just look at you and they're like, we can't believe this. Oh my God,
and the priest's
what
like,
do we do?
I'll distract these people. You better run. And so you can run. You don't get into any fights. And then as soon as you leave the castle, they do block the way out. However, you start get all the random encounters outside start becoming royal guards. And I was running away at this point because I was like, oh, I don't want to like turn them evil.
I did the same thing. I ran
humans.
from every royal guard.
Yeah. And
What?
then...
I killed all these guys. I didn't realize. Do you think that this affects the ending of the game?
No, it does not. But I thought it did. I don't know. I wasn't looking at a guide.
I was just following my own ethics, and you have to follow yours.
Yeah. So the at this point,
You must
your
do
good
what
friend
you think
Orange
is
Dot,
right, of course.
Foreshadowing.
your good friend Orange Dot goes away. So I was like, I guess I need to go back to the Archon's Roost now and see what's up. So I did that. I went to the end of the dungeon, which takes about 20 minutes, and there was no one there. And then I was like, I'm going to go to bed. Hey, Matthew, what am I supposed to do? And Matthew's like, you're supposed to go to the village, get negged by a family, and then go back to the castle. So
The reason I knew that is because
did.
I did the same thing and had looked it up and was like, what am I supposed to do next? And it was like, go get negged by this family.
I used to think that was a feature because it added to hours of gameplay, and that was a big selling point.
There's only 4 places to go here. I honestly, what am I complaining about?
Yeah.
So we flee and we go get negged by the family. And we go back to the castle and we get arrested. Bum, bum, bum.
Yep, we're under arrest for regicide, and we're put right into the dungeon, and they're like,
Regicide.
we're not going to kill you right away. We're going to kill you tomorrow. Enjoy your last night.
Yeah. And in the cell next to you is your best friend Uranus. And Uranus is like, why the fuck are you here, you idiot? They're torturing me to find out where you are, and you just walked up and turned yourself in. I hate you so much. You're a piece of shit. But I guess you're also our only hope. And so he uses the last of his life force power to unlock your door, and then he dies.
He does give you like a long speech about what happened with Hash and how darkness can take over anybody, etc., etc.
This is foreshadowing. Big time.
So this time it's time to actually go to Mount Archon's Roost and actually fight the Dark Lord, and we traverse our way back through. And there's a big reveal here. I don't remember how you discover that that you have to there's a puzzle on the statue. Do you
I just hit A. I just hit A. Because last time you didn't nothing happened. There was no A prompt, but this time there's an A prompt. If you examine the statue,
that's what it is. And then the wording on the statue all lights up in fire, and it's just it slides away to reveal
yay,
a hell staircase.
Yay! So you go through this little passageway, and you come out on. And you're also getting cutscenes. I saw at least one cutscene of Alethea, and was this like a dream or a vision that Oersted was having? Because you see Alethea with the Dark Lord, and Dark Lord's like, "Hey, baby," and she's like, "Don't touch me."
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
I just thought it was a cutaway, you know?
But I think
Like
I
a
wonder if
plot.
it was like, you know how maybe it was something that you're meant to see, like he was being fed that
Maybe.
image,
Maybe.
you know? So you get there.
If it was, they certainly didn't confirm it in any way.
Yeah. There's just a statue, and it's like on top of it's a pretty cool statue. And I can see why you'd build that on top of mountains, like have a rad statue there. And then who comes out?
Barbara Streisand.
Spaceborg.
Spaceborg comes out, and he's like,
I stole Johnny's
"Hey,
joke.
so
So did I.
It's a good
you
joke.
know, we agreed before the fight that you would throw it and let me win, but you didn't let me win because you had to have all the glory. You had to win that fight, and you had to take Alethea away from me, even though you know we were a couple.
He's
you
like,
didn't care.
you know I love her, and I begged you not to win, and you did anyway.
Did he? Are we just
Well-
supposed to assume this is true?
I bet it is. I think that's the interesting part of this chunk. One of the interesting
Yeah,
parts of this
yeah.
reveal is I think you start at a moment and you don't know what happened right before it. And I think this is kind of filling in what did happen right before you started playing.
Yeah, your
as
character's a
Oersted.
dick.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have taken a real vow of silence, and that these people have been talking to you, and you just can't respond to them to tell them yes or no. You know, he's like, I begged you, but he doesn't say, and you agreed.
But you had to win. You always have to win. And so I realized I was never going to defeat you in combat, but I joined you. And then it like shows him. Well, it doesn't show him. It shows him that he learned to get some other power. He went to the Archon's
statue.
Roost. Yeah, he went, and
Yeah.
he got. And so that was him that stole Alethea.
He was what made you see the Dark Lord and kill the king.
Mm-hmm.
He laughs about it. He's like, it was a great practical joke that I pulled on you when I made you murder the king.
Yeah. you got punked.
That great theme from bloopers and
Excuse
practical
me, you had
jokes
got
start
punked.
playing. Do you remember that show? I think was it Dom DeLuise that hosted it, and it had that like Mad Magazine artist doing the like cartoon intro.
None of us
I was
remember
just-
that. We're not 80. What are you talking
I was
about?
just
Don't talk
thinking
about
of-
Mad TV.
I was just thinking about Dom DeLuise the other day.
What's wrong with you two? Tom
Come
DeLuise.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was an early crush of mine. You leave him alone.
He had a really funny bit part in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Wasn't
guy
he
who was-
Friar Tuck?
No, he was the guy who was negotiating the assassination of Robin Hood at the archery contest. Because he's like, he'll be dead. D-E-D. Dead. That always makes me laugh.
So Streibough is real happy that his plan has worked, and now he's infused with Dark Lord powers, and he's like, well, now I'm going to kill you now that I have all the power. So later, buddy, and you fight him, and he's like spooky ghost powers, but he's still pretty weak.
So we beat him.
This next part after this shocked
Yeah,
me.
we beat him, saved the day, and now Althea comes running out from where she's been hiding, and she's like,
I love you. Thank you for saving me.
pretty close. Yeah. She runs out and she's like, hey, what's up? It took you a really long time to get here, and now that you're here, you killed this sweet, loving man who I love and who loved me. You suck.
You get long flashbacks to her not being super convincing about being in love with
which
you.
I had picked up on right at the beginning of this chapter.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the voice acting gave enough clues
Yep.
about it, I think.
And she's like, my father sold me to you. You suck. I only like this guy. Now he's dead. Guess what? I have a surprise knife and I'm dead. She kills herself.
Yeah.
And
she kills herself.
And it shows her. There's a lot of blood. Like the blood is pooling around them. It's like it was a lot.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? If I was her, I would have just jumped. That's going to be less. I guess she wanted to make a point.
And she did make a point with that knife.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So at this point, Oersted's like, Althea, no. What? He can talk? And he does talk. And he's like, well, you took everything from me. Everyone thinks that I'm the king killer. They all think I'm the the Dark Lord. I don't know if we mentioned that. Everyone calls him the Dark Lord. So if you want me to be that, he's like the guys on Twitter, like, well, if you're going to call me a Nazi, I guess I'm going to start wearing a swastika and being a white supremacist just because you started calling me that, not because of anything I already believed.
I'm a really nice guy, and I don't know why women don't just want a nice guy. I've done everything. Like, I worked out. I'm a super Chad now, and so you really need to like me. I can't believe that you did this. You ruined my life, and all I did was like participate in your forced arranged marriage. So
it's the Virgin Oersted versus the Chad Spaceborg.
Well, no, Spaceborg's like a total beta cuck, and he can't believe that she went for him instead of Oersted, the Chad warrior. And he's like, I can't believe.
I don't know. They're both Chads
pretty
in this
much
scenario.
both Chads. And so he's like, well, I guess I'll be the Dark Lord now. How would you like that? End chapter.
Yep.
Yeah, credits.
Amazing.
And that's the end of Live a Lot.
Game over.
Yep. Glad we played it. Can't wait to never play it again.
I was surprised by this twist. I got to admit, I knew that something was up with the beginning just because of the way that Althea was talking, but I did not think it was going to end like this.
No, me neither.
His name is Oersted. I knew this was going to happen the moment this chapter started.
You know what? I wasn't paying enough attention. I should have thought of that, Matthew.
And the fact, it was two things. His name was Oersted, and they only referred to the villain as the Dark Lord. And I was like, oh yeah, he's the bad guy here, huh? Okay. And then he was. Surprise.
So, next chapter, there is actually one more chapter. And it doesn't show a hero, it just shows a mysterious void of purple darkness. So you go into the...
It's a timey-wimey situation.
It is. It is, because you get there. Well, first you choose your hero.
Okay, wait. Do you know what happens if you choose Oersted?
Yes, and Vanessa will talk about that.
We're going to discuss that at the end. You can choose from any of the heroes, and they're all the same unless you choose Oersted, and Vanessa will talk about that at the end.
So I chose Beefy Boy Hong because I went back and made him live and gave him all the point boosts. I only trained him, so he was going to be super powerful, and he's a special boy.
So you went back and made the darkest timeline.
Yep. No, I'd say it's only slightly dark.
I didn't have Hong, but the Earthen Heart Master was the strongest character on my team. For sure.
No, for me, it was Pogo. Pogo was definitely the strongest.
Use Pogo.
So who did you choose? Who did you choose?
Well, I chose Ninja Man.
Shinobi guy?
Oboromaru. Shinobi guy.
I also went back and redid the China chapter so I could have the one optional female protagonist in this game. Just want to point out that this game sucks. It's total
Yeah, that's
bullshit
fucked up.
that there are, 8 playable chapters, 8 different characters. In one chapter, you can choose one of 3, and of those 3, one is a girl. So that's 8.
Well, that's the only thing that was acceptable to gamers in 1994, Vanessa.
1/12 of your
that's
potential
not true,
protagonists
though.
are female.
Because Final Fantasy V is the mainline Final Fantasy with the most female cast members, not
Final
including.
Fantasy VI's protagonist is a woman.
2 women, depending on how you
Yes,
look at
but
it.
with the most playable character, it has, I think, 50% women in Final Fantasy V, and the only other ones that compare are Final Fantasy 13-2 and 10-2.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
10-2 was 100% women.
Those 2s for the ladies.
Well, they learned their lesson from Final Fantasy V. That's not what gamers, quotation, copyright gamers want.
Yeah,
They want them boys.
Girls will see those games on the shelves and think, "Oh, my boyfriend played Final Fantasy 13. Maybe he'll like me more if I play 13 too."
Oh, there's one girl in the cast.
Yeah.
So I know it's being marketed at me.
Because in everything, just like in this podcast, you can only have one girl.
Remember that episode that Nadia was on and Vanessa wasn't on?
Nadia and I had a big fight because I can't stand there being another girl in the guild or whatever. Because I play video games to get male attention, and if there's another woman around, someone might pay attention to her.
You know, all this talk is going to entice Jonathan Blow to come in and explain how women can't play JRPGs because they're menstrual blood or something.
Yeah, I can't play JRPGs because I'm
Hang on.
menstruating.
All right, so I'm curious how Leia's stuff, because there is a little bit of extra story to whichever protagonist. They get some extra dialogue throughout this chunk,
I
which is
did
fun.
not finish. I did not choose her for this chapter. I chose Ninja Boy.
What?
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 Ninja Boy was kind of a letdown. He was my
Wow.
first party
Ninja
member.
Boy because I did the no-kill run so carefully with him, and the reward for that is a special sword. And I was like, well, I want to use that special
But you get
sword. Well,
another better
I
special
didn't
sword
know that, Johnny.
right away.
Also, if you choose Ninja Boy, you get some more of that sweet Australian man talking as if
Yep.
he is this Japanese
Good day.
feudal lord.
Ryoji
Not feudal
Sakamoto.
lord. Japanese politician.
Yeah. He was the one who wanted to democratize Japan, and then got
Oi.
murdered.
Where are you going, mate? You're like fading in and out of time.
Why was he?
civil rights.
Was he? He wasn't Australian
Yeah.
in real life, though, right?
No.
Yeah, he was just a native Japanese guy.
Yeah.
Why did they make him Australian?
Why do
Why
they
did
have
they do
English
anything?
accents or American
Because
accents?
America is the default.
Yeah,
All right.
I can only
So-
perceive things through the lens of America.
I mean, the more reasonable and less offensive explanation is because it was an American company that they hired to record this translation, and they hired American artists because that's where they are.
Well,
You know?
maybe an Australian did the
I
best.
bet he was an American, and
I'm-
he's like, I've really meditated on this character, and I just feel like he'd have an Australian
Yes.
accent. I know he's Japanese, but we're
Yes.
doing it in English.
Boy, actually, when I listen to it, and it's not the whole scene, but it does replay that scene, and I got to be honest with you, I thought he had a Cockney accent.
I did go ahead and, especially since I had to watch these 3 times, which we'll get into, I did go ahead and skip all those. Because I was like, is this going to be like 10 minutes of this? And
This
then
game has an
that's-
amazing skip function that I respect the shit out of.
Because you've seen them before. You don't have to watch the whole thing. They're doing the Uwe Boll thing of showing you scenes that just happened, especially in the last chunker where it showed you like talking to the old man.
Yeah, we didn't
in
even
the
talk about it,
prison.
but yes, at the end of the Middle Ages, it legitimately spends 3 or 4 minutes running through cutscenes from this one chunker, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that it's supposed to be recontextualized because now you know that Oersted is a scumbag, but like you don't need to
happened
rewatch
like an hour
the movie
ago.
to get that.
We can
You
figure
know what
it
I
out.
mean? Yeah.
So for this final chapter, as Matthew was saying, all the different heroes are spread around the map. Matthew, which heroes did you end up recruiting? Did you recruit
right.
all of them? Who was in your final party?
I did not recruit all of them. I knew that I didn't. Well, at least I didn't think I had to do that. I just wanted to finish this game because, as we said at the beginning of this, they have introduced, and I don't think we've said this so far, but they introduced the random battles, and this final chapter is once again in the Middle Ages. So you're just replaying the same map that you just played, which is interesting because when I played the Middle Ages, I kept thinking to myself, like, this is so big and so fucking empty.
I was thinking the same thing, actually. Yeah, I noticed how empty that map was.
And then you just replay it, and it's less empty, for sure, which is I guess pretty cool and interesting. And there's some fun stuff, the treasure room. If you go back in the castle from the Middle Ages, you can go to it, and there's a shitload of like great weapons and armor and stuff, which is
Interesting.
So who's in your final party?
I didn't want to spend too much time on this, so I chose ahead of time who I was going to pick up, and I picked up the Sundown Kid, Earthen Heart Master, who I kind of accidentally picked up, and then was just like, yeah, all right, you're pretty good. And then it was a real tough call, but I really wanted to use Cube, but it looked to me like he would be difficult to like level up and stuff. Like I would have to like collect items and shit to level him up, and I was like, I don't want to do that. So I picked up Akira, the Shonen Jump boy from Shonen Jump. Near future.
Psychic boy, yeah.
I like his moves, though they ended up not being very good here, and he was pretty weak. He was a good healer. He was a really good healer for me in this chunker, which really worked out for me.
I think that he and Cube are
out.
the only ones with healing abilities for party members, not just themselves.
Yeah, maybe. They're certainly in my party. He was the only one that could heal other people, and I had plenty of items and stuff. But still, it came in handy several times being able to have him swoop in and toss a heal on somebody. So that was my party, and
You'll cry if you want to.
Vanessa,
Yes.
Cry if you want to.
who was your party?
Well, I did recruit everybody.
Wow.
Absolutely
Everybody.
Everybody. But
I even ran across people and like skipped them.
the party that I ended up focusing on was Ninja, Earthen Heart Shifu, Lady Shifu.
Earthen Heart Master.
Earthen Heart Master, Lady Master.
Earthen Heart Shifu was the Shifu.
No,
Right.
you become the Shifu. They refer to you become the Shifu.
She's the
I
Shifu.
am almost positive that in the final chapter it refers to them as Master and not Shifu.
Well, you can still be a Shifu. They're Shifu. I mean, it's not incorrect to call
She's
them
a Shifu.
No, you're right.
Ooh.
I just thought it was interesting that I noticed that he's there. Your character, and this is Earthen Heart Master. I mean, I guess they just wanted to give him a different name. Or a different name, excuse me.
And
It's cool that you had her as your Earthen Heart.
yeah,
I had boring guy.
I
I read that you had to fight her to get her.
you do. Yeah, you have to fight her. She is like, "Who the hell are you? I'm a thief." And then she's like, "I was just kidding. I'm the Earthen Heart Shifu."
How was her ending in the
And then Hong,
in
you
her
have
chapter?
to feed, right?
Yes.
In that's pretty funny. In her chapter, it was interesting. The guy I played originally, when you show up after the ambush, he's hiding, and he's like, "I was scared. I hid." But with her, she's outside of the cabin because she tried to chase after these guys after they attacked. Yeah, and then
What does Hong do?
He also hides.
Yeah, so she's not hiding at all. And then
So she's clearly the only cool character.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
and she's like,
Represent.
she's upset that they're dead, and then she's just like, yeah, I'm gonna get revenge. And she at the end she says, I know that I have an attitude problem and am like, I used to be a thief and I have anger issues, but I'm really going to try to be like, follow your example and be a good Shifu. So I liked it. I thought she was pretty cool. A Shifu.
They both sound more interesting than whatever the guy's name is that I got, because he is the lamest.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to fight him. You don't have to feed him. He's just like, I'll be your friend.
Hey, cool. Hey.
Yeah.
So, I had her, I had Akira, and I had modern day
Loves
guy.
that Shonen Jump boy. Oh, you use Street Fighter.
I used Street Fighter. Yep.
Wow. How was he?
I played with all of them. He was okay by the time I'd leveled him up a little bit. He was kind of slow, but he had some pretty powerful moves once you get to use them.
Do you guys know? This is a question for the group. Did you know that the turn order is based on where they are on the screen, on their formation?
No.
I found that out because I moved
It's
Akira to the front,
It's
or to the top,
northwest, southeast.
so that I could get him to run away every battle, so I could get to his special place.
You didn't have to do that. You could teleport from anybody.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
No.
huh.
Isn't that crazy? They have speed stats. What are they for?
The speed stats are for.
It's like how many moves they get, right?
Yeah, well, how fast their bar fills up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's weird that it's not in. Why would that not be the order that they start in?
It should, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess for the first turn it's different, but after that, because I put Cube, I gave Cube all like speed items, so Cube was really fast because Cube is a super good healer, so and has a mazer cannon.
I just had a shitload of healing items, so
Yeah, you don't. It's fine. You don't need to heal.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
we sort
Jim,
of brushed
no,
on
sorry.
recruitment of the Shifu. A couple of other characters have interesting recruitments, like Sundown Kid. You have to follow around over the whole
That was
map,
annoying.
basically.
Yeah,
That
you
was
have to
really
you have to
annoying.
run into him 4 times or something, and then he like holds you up.
Yeah. He's like, "Why are you following me, vermin?"
But so I think that they all gain their final big move at level 16,
Yeah.
and I also noticed that their stats maxed out at 99. Which I thought was interesting. But his final move, Hurricane, really did do a shitload of damage to anybody I pointed it at. It had kind of a long charge, but it was maybe one of the strongest moves that I had by the end of the game.
So I'd like to give, if anyone's going for the true ending, here's my little piece of advice. Level up everybody to level 16 or you'll regret it. I didn't level up. I got all the characters. I recruited everybody, but I barely used Sundown Kid before swapping for a better character. And I think I swapped him for Cube because I love a robot. However, there's comes a point where you might need Sundown Kid to not die in one hit. So
What level did you finish the game at?
23 or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
I tried to finish it at like 18, and all the guides had told me that I would be good at 16. And I tried to finish it at 18 and got wrecked.
I had everyone around 25. I did level up everyone just because I did every single optional dungeon. And I honestly thought in the end, when you are referencing having difficulties, that it was rigged so that like it only took 3 hits from any given character.
Nope.
To beat those enemies.
Nope. But my Sundown Kid was like level 5 or something.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so that was the problem with that. So every character has a dungeon where they can get their ultimate weapon. And then some of the dungeons afterwards also, once you complete them, you can go back and get a cosmic piece of armor from the cosmic. I actually got the cosmic boots, which you get from another optional boss that we'll talk about in a second. And that I didn't use because I looked at it and it's like, oh no, actually all the boots I have are way better and give like better stat increases. So I didn't use the cosmic boots.
I only beat one of the optional bosses, and it was Sundown Kid's dungeon. I beat Jaggedy Jack, and it actually was tough. I was down to my last guy, and it was Akira, and he was healing himself, like alternating between healing himself and attacking. Like it was real tight. It was pretty good.
Yeah, Jaggedy Jack was a little rough. I think that's the only optional boss I did as well.
I did Fishman, which is really fun. I forgot, it was another cosmic item, but it was really good. And then I did the one in the ninja place, and I did the one in the robot place. That was fun. I like the robot. So the robot each dungeon's a little bit different. The ninja one's all about collecting keys, and you have to fight ninjas to get more keys. That one was a little obnoxious because the random encounters just did not give me ninjas for like half an hour. It was real bad.
They only seem to really populate in front of doors or in the main hallways.
Yeah, I don't know if I was in the wrong place or what, but I ended up with 6 keys by the end just because I suddenly got all ninjas at the end. I don't know why. And the robots dungeon was like a puzzle dungeon that was really fun. I recommend doing the robot one. That was great. There's no combat in the robot one.
The Earth and Heart Masters was
I like that one.
Just punching boulders.
But you had to go by the description.
And fighting one guy.
Yeah,
I was not getting descriptions. My boulders were just like, "There's a boulder here. What are you going to use?" And I would just go through the list.
In the item selection screen, on the top of the item selection screen is a description of the move you need to use.
And she would say, like,
gives you a little.
Oh, only the King of Beasts could defeat this boulder, so you have to use
Exactly.
Oh,
or
well,
this one requires the
that.
Grace of a magnificent animal. Or one more step, right,
Well,
Shifu?
I'll tell you, you can get through it by just trying them all one at a time until it works.
Yeah, there's no penalty for picking the wrong one.
No.
It's very
I
quick.
like that.
They go, no,
that
not that
mechanic.
one. Try again, and then you try the next one.
But all these dungeons were fun. I was just kind of running out of time. Like, I finished this one on, like, by the wire. I think I was half hour from bedtime when I finished this before we recorded this afternoon, my bedtime this morning, because I work night shift. So, I did everyone except for Sundown Kid, and I super regret that. So yeah, make sure everybody's level 16 if you want to get the true ending.
I only picked the 3 other characters, and I only did the 4 dungeons. Like, I was very focused here. I did not want to waste a lot of time. As much as, like, I'm sure some of them were interesting. Some of these were pretty boring. Like, the Earth and Heart Shifus was bleh. And the
I think if you got the text of the boulder, it was more fun.
And Akira's was fucking bad. Like, you get to Akira's by teleporting away from fights, which I didn't know. So I was in the key dungeon, and all of a sudden I was in Akira's dungeon. And I'll tell you what, that one is intentionally like 4 different paths out of every screen, and 3 of them are dead ends. Some of them long dead ends. I went the right 6 way the first time,
Matthew. Matthew, I went the
Are
without
you kidding
cheating.
me?
No, I'm not. I'm not kidding. I chose
This was the longest
path.
part of the chunker. The heart of the dungeon was the longest part of the chunker for me. It took me forever, and I finally found a guide, and it was like, find the nearest treasure chest and figure it out from there. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go find a treasure chest, and then I found my way out.
It's also full of ghosts, which I thought was interesting, and you can read their mind.
Oh yeah,
and they'll
but a bunch of them had the same text, which was really frustrating.
Yeah, they had the same
because
text.
it's like all the guards. But then you do find the ghost of Space Child and the king and the advisor, and the other
Was
two
this the
dead
one
heroes.
where Watanabe? Oh no, it was Pogo's dungeon where Watanabe.
Yeah. In
a
Pogo's
different
dungeon,
Watanabe and his
Watanabe
dad.
is frozen into a wall, and you can read their mind, and they'll be like, they warn you to not keep running away in this dungeon because I think that will summon a secret boss.
Oh.
And then they're also
interesting.
like, oh my god, I can't believe we're dead. But at least they're together.
Yep. So
I'm glad I
my
didn't get the secret
original
boss
idea was to have Ninja in my. Well, I chose Hong because of course I would as my main character, and then I was going to have Ninja, Akira, and Cube. But I honestly found Ninja wasn't that great, even though I
Yeah.
loved them all the way up. So, and when I unlocked Pogo to do the Pogo dungeon, and Pogo gets at level 16 gets a move that can and often does 900 damage. I was like, oh, I should keep
Wow.
Pogo in my party. His move is amazing.
He has
I honestly
really
thought
high
about
hit
it.
points too.
After I
Yeah.
lost to the boss the first time, I thought about swapping Akira out because he just wasn't doing much other than healing.
Yeah,
there's
he's
others.
okay. But I'd say Pogo. Cube has his chicken launcher and his fish launcher and his mazer cannon, and those are all really good. And Cube has lots. Like Cube has a
Can't you
counter
equip different weapons to him to get different attacks?
Yeah, in his, but they have to be as accessories. You equip all those weapons you get, like the plasma, the mazer, all as accessories, and then you get extra attacks. And so that's how I got all the Showa attacks and everything. And also, he has a counter ability that heals everyone around him. You know, in the 9 squares,
Yeah,
or the 8 squares
that's
around
handy.
him. And so I would like keep him in front, right next to everybody, so that the enemies would attack him first, and then every time they attacked him, it would heal people standing next to him. It was really good.
That's amazing, actually. That sounds like a good use of a party member. Way better than Akira, who was pretty useless.
Someone's on their back with a little paw.
Though he did some good damage against the final eyeballs, so I guess that's nice. Anyway, so we collect our heroes, and we head back to Archon's Roost. We do the same thing. We go through the same dungeon yet again. You unlock the staircase again. You head up to the top. And who's there? It's the Dark Lord.
Odio.
Oersted. It's the Dark Lord Oersted.
And you do get to fight him. And I was like, nope. And I yeeted out of there because I read a guide.
First, we do have to fight him initially, don't we?
No. Well, no. You get the chance. He's like, come fight me now. And I was like, no. And so you run away. And then it brings you to a cosmic gate where...
I did this.
And then where first he teases you for running away. He's like, you can't run away from me. This is my domain. I control everything that happens in this dimension. So, ha ha. And then you fight optional boss that gives you cosmic boots. And
I didn't do that, I don't think.
It deposits you right at the hero's rest grave at the top of the other mountain. And you have to go all the way back down that mountain and then all the way up Archon's Roost. I recommend doing it just because it's funny when you run away from him. But yeah, that's how you get the cosmic boots.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't do that. I did this initial battle where we fight the Dark Lord, and we get to see the Dark Lord's hideous form, which is that thing you do with emojis when you have an eyeball and then the mouth and then the eyeball.
I kind of want that to be the title or title for this episode. Is just eyeball emoji, mouth emoji.
I think that would be amazing, actually. See if anyone can figure out why.
Because that's the semi-final boss.
It is. I mean, it's really strange and interesting looking. So it actually has 4 separate parts, and they can wiggle around. Like if you hit them with a attack that moves their position, they can move around the screen. It's a mouth, 2 eyes, and what they call the brow, which looks like
Which is a demon.
it's a demon
Yeah.
with its wings crossed in front of it. But the eyes are
they're like crying blood.
they're crying blood. They have grapes at the corner of the eye and like big feathery stalks and flowers and vines twisting around them. And then same with the mouth. It has like a flower on one side and a feathery cluster of leaves on the other side. And its lips are parted very alluringly. You can see a little bit of teeth.
It's like the Rocky Horror mouth.
It's like the Rocky Horror mouth, and it looks like elaborate makeup that a TikTok makeup person would do. Like it's a look. Odio is serving look.
The best attack though is, I don't know if you got this against you, the Saint Alethea
Yes.
attack is nasty.
Yeah.
So it shows her face, and she just like comes in
one
like
shot me the first
like
time I
a
fought.
yeah. She'll kill whoever she attacks pretty much, or get them unless you have like Pogo or martial artist who gets maxed out. Both of them.
It's a group attack, and in my second and winning playthrough, it knocked us down to a quarter health. But it didn't kill anybody.
So it shows her coming down like what's her name? Mary, yeah, Jesus' mom comes down like Jesus, like a saint, and then suddenly her face starts melting. And she just screams, and it's a really nasty like Super Nintendo scream. It's like creepypasta moment. It's real good. I liked that attack a lot. Jim, did you see that attack? I think you like it. It's we'll have to find a video of it later, but it's cool. It's super cool. It's creepy, super creepy.
It is, and it hits you very hard, which is a real bummer. I guess I read a guide before I fought this thing, so I didn't do it. But I guess that if you attack the brow, it'll buff all of the other stuff.
I kept doing that accidentally. I was real dumb. But they're like Pogo. The only thing is with the eyeballs, they have high agility, so they can dodge your attacks very easily. So what I found was I had like 40 of those herbs that buff all your stats, the ones that you can, the bulbwort or whatever it's called. So I used one of those on each character to get them to have buff stats, and then you wouldn't miss. So that's how I killed the eyeballs. And Pogo, if Pogo doesn't miss, he can like two-shot almost everything.
Yeah.
So
Killing 2 hits.
it wasn't that tough a fight for me. I don't know what your experience was like.
It took me I think I just made some, because I wasn't looking at a guide, and I made some mistakes about fighting the guy that was healing the other ones too often, or like using a mass attack that hit him. And I just got into a bad situation for a little while that took a little while to dig out of.
I said earlier, I lost the first time I fought him. I was underleveled, and I didn't think I was, but I got wrecked. I just couldn't. I got through the eyes and the mouth, but the brow, when it unfurls, was just wrecking me. I couldn't do anything to stop it. So but I gained 3 levels and then came back, and it was fine.
What I would like to hear now is what happened next for Matt.
I'm interested. So yeah, you kill him. Then what happened, Matthew?
I have a mouthful of Snickers. So the question was, what happened with Matthew? So I finally leveled up. I beat the final boss, and then Oersted showed up and was like, "Wow, you beat me. Now I guess I'll face you one-on-one." And I was like, "No. I'm not going to fight you." And the game then like repeated the text to me, where it was like, "Hey, you do you want to fight me, yes or no?" And I was like, "Well, I guess if the game is going to make me do it, I might as well do it." And I said yes, and then I did kill him. And then the game ended, and he died, and it said, "The cycle continues." And I was like, wow, what a bummer ending. And then I uninstalled the game.
Congratulations on beating the game.
Yay!
Hooray!
So My experience was a little bit different than that. I talked to him, and he's like, "Now deliver the final blow," and I was like, "No." And then it actually took me out of that dialogue box, and I could walk around. So I just left. I turned around.
That's what I did.
I left the whole area, went back to the statue room, and then who comes crawling out but Oersted, and he's like, "Wait just 1 minute there."
Actually, something happens, but right before that,
What's
all your
that?
friends are there in the statue room.
Oh, that's right. They're all there waiting for you, and they're like, everyone who's not in your party.
And if any party member can examine in your current party can examine a statue and be like, Hong's like, what's this Odewan doing here, etc.
Oh no, it's Odio death. All of that kind of thing. And then the guy comes crawling out, and he's like, "Hey, listen to this. I'm not going to let you beat me. And in fact, what I'm going to do is split myself up using these statues. I'm going to go all the way, all through time, all over the place, and fight you all one-on-one," which has already happened. Or has it? Or has it?
What I thought it had.
This sounds like a lesson on how you should just finish your enemies off. Because if you don't, they'll come back to hunt you.
Yep. He's coming right back.
And the problem with these one-on-one fights is, if you haven't leveled up the Sundown Kid, he can get one-shotted by the boss he's fighting. Because I didn't put any special equipment on him or anything.
Yeah. I found the problem to be that if you have leveled everyone up, it's super easy. I don't think
that's a problem.
I don't think these bosses are differently statted from the first time you played it. So it's the same stats, except you're doing it without your party members. So whoever it is you had with you, Mad Dog in the case of Sundown, he's just not there. So for me, I think it didn't take me more than 3 hits to defeat any of these guys, except for doing the robot fight again, because the robot is just statted as the robot.
Well, unless you've been using the robot upgrades and getting him cool.
Not Cube. I mean,
weapons.
the giant robot mech that you fight in. Akira's thing.
Yes. Yeah. So, that was pretty fun.
But yeah,
You can
otherwise it was just like a
him.
series of fighting one-on-one with everyone, and you go through every single fight over again.
And every single lead up to the fight, which if you let this roll, and I had to do this 3 times, and even the first time I skipped most of them, it's a good 10 minutes of recapping what happened right before the fight in the game. I have a pretty good memory. I didn't need to see that again.
Well, especially since we record a show each week to talk about what happened, it really
that's
reinforces for us in particular. If you had been playing this game over 6 months or something like that, I could see how it might be interesting.
At least it has a skip function, so you can. But you do have to skip each one of those scenes individually.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of them.
It's tedious.
So yes, I found, I did have an item in my inventory. I can't remember what it was, but it one hit killed the cowboy with the Gatling gun. And that was the only way I could get through that, or restoring an older save and going and leveling up Sundown Kid.
Yeah, for me, Gatling gun guy didn't even get one shot off. It was pretty fantastic. So we kill all of these bosses again, which we now understand to be manifestations of the same middle-aged guy.
Me?
No, I mean Middle Ages guy.
Oh. Sorry, I'm a 20-something.
Spreading his hatred throughout time.
Me!
It's you. I thought that was kind of cool, actually. Like, it really brought together the whole disparate timelines things in an interesting way. And I like that oftentimes we have like a future boss who you find out has been meddling with time. I like that this guy wasn't future boss. This guy was just like Middle Ages boss.
But he also tapped into Odio. Like Odio, those statues were there. Although I guess that could be a time paradox, right?
Yeah.
The statues were there before he got there. So I guess it could be him harnessing. I felt like Odio was a thing that existed outside
I
of
think
him
it
before.
does,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I think Odio sort of possesses different people or something like that. But
Yeah, he's not like I'm the Dark Lord now and then like learns to be a wizard.
well,
And
I thought that's kind of what he did.
yeah.
But no, that's apparent from the fact that when you defeat the weird monster, all that's there is the same old dude from before. Like the level's the same and everything.
Yeah, but he
I bet. I don't know.
he definitely like explicitly says that he's taking direct control of these things in the past to change the outcome, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay. That
Maybe
makes
that
sense.
makes it clearer in the special version of the chapter that I'll talk about in a little bit. So
There's a special version?
yeah, and I'm going to talk about it.
Oh, right.
In a
Yes.
little bit.
Yes. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So we defeat everyone again, and then he's like, well, I guess you beat them, but you'll never beat me. And now it's
And
time.
he looks like Dark Force from Fantasy Star.
He looks like Dark Force from Fantasy Star Guy, and it's time to finally beat the final boss.
the real final boss of the game.
The real final boss of the game. So he, we battle him with our team of 4 again. And then at a certain point, he uses an attack that sort of shoots out lava and sticks everyone to the ground, I want to say. And they're all like, well, he got us. Like, what can we do? That's one heck of an attack. And then who should jump onto screen but the other 3 people that you haven't had in your party? And so
That was pretty rad.
it was pretty rad. And so for me, it was Sundown, Cube, and Pogo. And
For me, it was Sundown, Ninja, and Martial Artist.
so they all jump on screen and they're like, we got this. You fight him as those 3 for a little bit. And then eventually the other members of your team get free and they all line up, all 7 of them in a row. And each of them...
This was so rad.
Each of them gets 1 turn to do their coolest attack. So it goes down the line, and I think you can...
And the music here is amazing. I think it's my... I think this is... Because originally the boss fight theme was Megalomania, and now this one's Gigalomania. It's made special... Because this whole ending is new to the... Or this part of the ending is new to the Switch version.
Oh, is that
Oh,
so?
It ended before before it ended at the boss rush. This new final boss is new to the Switch version.
Oh,
And with
cool.
that new music, which is rad. That final boss fight song is a top 10 final boss fight song. It's real cool.
That makes a lot of sense because, like, having all of your characters fight in one party feels really innovative. And it was really cool. And I was like, why isn't every single game doing this? Like, every game that has a party system ever should always do this. They should always all be there fighting together.
I'd love it if
Yeah.
they like suddenly popped up extra character boxes on the side in a regular JRPG, and like for the final boss, it's like boop boop boop, and then suddenly your whole team is there.
That would be amazing. So as we do these final super cool attacks, we start to kind of peel away the chest flesh of this demon, and it reveals little Oersted in there,
What the fuck?
and he's stuck inside, and he starts to show his old character model, not corrupted by darkness or something, and eventually he falls out, and then he's like, I think I was... Oh, I know what I need to do. And he delivers the final killing blow to the Dark Lord. That's pretty cool. And he's like, wow,
It is.
I sucked.
Pops out of that chest.
Yep.
He's all goopy.
Raises his sword and finally strikes down the evil that had subsumed him. And then he's like on the ground and he's like, oh my God, I suck so much. And whoever it is who you chose to be your primary character for this chapter gives a little speech. What kind of little speech
can't
did
believe you
Hong
didn't-
give?
Hong's like, people, I understand your anger and why you hated people. Everyone used to make fun of me, but I realized, like, I didn't want... At first, I was driven by a desire to get revenge on them and take it out on them, but I didn't want the pain that they caused me to happen to other people. And I realized that there's just already too much pain, so I chose to help them instead of get retribution. It was a sweet little moment. I'm so stunned you didn't choose Lady Fighter as your main.
I hadn't read anything about what happened in this last chapter, except for a few things in the Square Roots group chat and stuff, because people like to give us little hints. So I didn't know that I would have the ability to get any character. And I really wanted to use my special sword because I tried so hard not to kill anyone in that chapter. So that was my motivation. But yeah, I'd love to hear what her speech was. I'm sure it was something like, I was a thief, I sucked too, then I learned not to suck. So just don't do it anymore.
I used to be a real piece of shit. Do you think the baby knows that I used to be a real piece of
You
shit?
can't make those kind of references when both Matt and Jim have walked away from the recording, because you're doing them
It's
at
true.
just me now, and it means nothing to me. I know you've
Yep.
been watching Taskmaster. You can pull out one of those references.
Okay. Season 1. I feel like I could have eaten more watermelon than any of those people.
You could.
I love
Friday
watermelon.
night, thinking that we just might.
Matt, how much watermelon do you think you could eat? Like in one sitting?
No.
In
A
1
lot.
minute. In 1 minute.
Okay, in 1 minute.
Very little.
I think I could eat a pound.
Love watermelon, but I also feel like
I
watermelon
love watermelon.
doesn't exist very much. It's primarily water. So I wonder if you could really kind of just make it disappear.
This is some real, I could probably beat Serena Williams in tennis because I'm a man logic.
What? I think I could eat more. These
I was
people
talking to
aren't
Vanessa,
pros.
not to you, who clearly is very capable of eating watermelon. Like you've said, no, Vanessa and I are on the same page here that it's pulpy, gross mess.
I love
But it's so
watermelon.
much water. Like, if you just kind of rubbed it very quickly across your teeth, I feel like it would mostly just disintegrate itself. Although
Right, but could you drink 2 cups of water? Could you drink 2 cups of water in a minute?
I'd prefer
'Cause-
not to.
Yeah.
Do I have to chew while I'm doing it?
To the water.
Well, it's watermelon.
You can drink watermelon if you blend it up.
Well, would you have taken that time, Vanessa? Would you have
No.
taken the time?
No.
And if you'd prepared, like that one guy did, and got the tools before getting in there, maybe.
But I don't think I would have, because we're talking about the first task of the first season of this show.
That's true.
Nobody knew
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're done with that. So, where were we?
We were talking about the speeches that you get at the end of this game.
Oh, and Matthew wouldn't have one. Okay, so you were Akira? Is that it?
No, I was the ninja.
What does the ninja say?
Ninja talks about how a real warrior understands that there's a time to fight and a time not to fight, and that the unsheathed...
Choice is up to you, my
Yeah.
friend.
Is this a fucking 70s rock and roll song?
He says the unsheathed sword always draws blood. So,
110 night rides away. You know what I mean?
yeah. And then the guy's like, wow, you're right. I'm probably gonna die now anyway, but thanks so much for coming to the past.
Yeah. Me First in the Gimme Gimme's version of that song is very good, and you could not pay me to listen to the classic rock version.
Oh, I love the classic rock version. It's so 70s.
I have no idea what song you guys
I'll take
are
the
talking
minute
about.
and a half. I'll take the minute and a half version. Thank you.
Yeah, that was like
110
7
Soldier,
minutes.
I think is the name of the song.
And Coven is the first group that did it, I believe.
Oh, really?
At least the version I know.
Oh, I love this song. Anyway,
It's about 110 Soldier, and he rides away.
cool.
110 soldier rides away. Ba, 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 ba. Anyway.
Johnny, we are young Gen Zers.
Yeah, I listen to it
20s.
ironically.
So
wait, do
it's
kids
the fact
listen
that
to it ironically now?
The fact that we know this old song is cool because like we have we listen to a lot of stuff or something. Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I just listen
Yeah.
to EMF
I'm
like
20.
mood mixes, like real lo-fi stuff. I'm into that.
Oh, I was
UHF,
listening
the
to on the
soundtrack
drive
for the
home.
Weird Al movie from the
There's-
80s.
There's a Spotify playlist called Final Fantasy and Chill that's got hundreds of like lo-fi mixes of old Final Fantasy songs. That was my
Sounds
drive
amazing.
home music. It's real good. Just look up Final Fantasy and Chill. It's a
Yeah,
great
that's what
playlist.
we're into, us Gen Zs.
our
Anyway,
Spotifys.
as I have said several times now, but this time I mean it. Anyway.
Okay.
Do you guys think Jim's
Okay.
coming back?
Nope.
No.
So Jim is playing God of War. Oersted says, "Okay, I did suck. I realize that now. Thank you for coming here and defeating the darkness that had consumed me. Also, here's a warning. This could happen to anyone. Like what happened to me." Don't go thinking that, like, oh, I'm too smart to join a cult, because you always need to be on guard. The seed of darkness is inside of everyone. It was inside of me, the classic RPG silent protagonist. And it could be inside of you, too, Vanessa. I mean, it's very much like a message to the player kind of thing. So
basically, he's saying the plot of Billy Joel's The Stranger, right?
that's when you sit on your hand so that you can't feel it, and then you masturbate. He's like, now you'll all be returned to your own times. Thank you very much for coming. Roll credits. And if you, like me,
good.
collected every single person to be in your party, you get special credits with little shows of each character in their own timeline. Did you get this, Johnny? Did you collect every party member at least once?
Yeah, I did. So I got the little vignettes. It was pretty fun. I liked. Well, let's see. What do I remember? Pogo. Oh, let's talk about Pogos first, because it's the best
Pogo's is pretty
one.
good.
Jim.
Jim's
Hey.
back. Pogo, we see. Do you want to talk about it, Johnny? Because you did love it.
Yeah. Okay. So you get Pogo goes back to everyone's going back to their own time. Pogo goes back to his time, and he sees his Stone Age lady friend in bed, and there's like a terrifying little doll next to her. And you go there, and the doll starts crying. It's not a doll. It's a baby. And Pogo's like, what? Oh, shit. And then goes to bed with the baby
That's how
and
humans
her.
were made. You know, that's where humans came from.
Then Gory walks in, sees the babies, and starts like flexing his eyebrows at the camera. And then suddenly all his girlfriends walk in, and they all have babies. It's amazing. So what did, let's see. Ninja Boy ran like a Naruto. And, Muscle Street Fighter closed his blinds very slowly.
He's just in his room and he closes his blinds. It's weird.
That's what?
That's his thing. He's just at home and he closes his blinds.
Cube.
That's some Full Metal Alchemist stuff right there.
Cube reunites with Kato and Darth, and they're at like a lab, and you see him like wistfully look out a window.
Yeah, and Kato gives him a big hug. It's really sweet.
Yeah, I like that.
But my favorite for me was Well, I had Lady Ninja, so I got to see her leading ninja school. Or, I'm sorry,
You see Hong
Shifu school.
do the same thing.
For Ninja, we see an assassination attempt against Mr. Australia, who IRL
Nope.
was assassinated. What? Oh, that's right, because
That's not what I saw.
Right, so for me, I saw he's like chilling, and then an assassin drops through the roof, and then the ninja guy drops through the roof and intercepts him, which I thought was interesting because that guy was
Ooh, you've changed history.
assassinated. Yeah, maybe we have. And so what happened for you, Johnny?
I saw. Well, I said before, I saw Ninja Guy Naruto run through the darkness.
Oh, right. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And then I also saw Sundown riding through the desert on his beautiful horse, and Mad Dog was with him riding on the demon horse.
Oh, he was just riding alone because I killed Mad Dog.
Yeah, for me, they're riding together through the desert. It was beautiful.
You got the true ending.
The true, good ending.
Mhm.
And that's it.
Yep. That's it. That's a wrap for Live Alive.
That's not
That's
it.
not it. Record scratch.
What? Oh. What?
That's how it could have happened. But listen to
Oh.
this.
Is this Clue?
Mm-hmm. If you start the
Tim Curry, get out of here.
if you start the final chapter as Oersted, is that his name? Oersted?
Oersted.
Oersted. You get an entirely different scenario. You start at the top of Doom Mountain by the statue, and he's like, I love hate. Hating is so good. I love to hate everybody like I should. I'm gonna hate everybody through time. Now come with me and commit time crimes. So he goes into the statuary, and he's like, I am going to use each of these statues to go commit my time crimes and kill these people like should have happened the very first time. So he goes to each one and he kind of talks to each statue, and he's like, wow, computer program, they made you to be a slave and you served them. And then when they didn't want you to serve them anymore, they were just going to kill you. That's terrible. Let's kill this cube robot. And then you get to replay all of those boss battles as the boss.
What?
Wow.
So you get
That's
to,
cool.
You get to be the demon horse. You get to be Odie O'Neill. You get to be the mean ninja. You
You get to be the mean kung fu
get to be
master.
mean kung fu master. You get to be the
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yep, you get to be the dinosaur. You get to be the giant bird. You get to be them all. And it was not that difficult. There was one fight I had to redo because the heroes beat me, and I am not sure which one. But you have all the powers that were given the bosses during their fights, but you also have the benefit of no AI restrictions. So you can basically just spam the most powerful attack that those characters can do over and over and totally wipe out those parties.
Nice.
And then it cuts back to medieval times, and he's like, I did it. And then you see a whole bunch of scenes of him just wandering around his totally barren, bleak kingdom. It's like he wanders around the castle, he wanders through the village. There's no other people. It's just him alone with his hatred. The end.
Dark.
It's pretty dark, but I thought it was really fun, actually. It's like what a cool little kind of treat to play as those bosses.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about how massive the
treat.
bosses are compared to the player characters. So you're playing these things that take up like 4 or 5 squares each. It's pretty cool.
That's fun.
It was fun. And that's the real ending.
Oh.
Well, not necessarily.
That seems sad.
But that's the ending I ended with. Then I deleted the game to make room for our next game.
Yay!
Where are we
Dino
playing to next
Babe.
week?
We're
In
playing it
Xenobabes.
to when in Xenobabes when you finish the fight with Metalface in Colony 9. It's a lot of dramatic stuff happens. There's some cutscenes at that point. You'll know.
Wait,
You'll
did
know.
you guys talk about the Armageddon ending?
Oh, we didn't. Would you like to talk about that?
Oh, sure, yeah.
There's an Armageddon
There
ending?
is. I
Yeah.
read about it, but I didn't manage to do it.
How do you get to it?
So if you choose to play as Oersted in the final chapter, you'll get his monologue about being evil and it being really cool, and then he'll go into the statue room and he'll talk about how these are all kind of different incarnations of brutality and hatred or whatever, and you can do the fights as the bosses. But there's an attack that you can do called Armageddon that when I watched it, it was the prehistoric time. So he was fighting whoever was playing was fighting as a T-Rex, and he did the Armageddon attack, and you just see a huge explosion, and then it cuts to every other time period, and there's gigantic explosions, and the entire universe explodes. He destroys the entire universe with this Armageddon attack. Yeah.
What I read said that you have to get one of the bosses down to critical health, and then Armageddon
interesting.
appears as an attack.
And it vaporizes every timeline. It's pretty
That's
cool.
the darkest timeline.
Yeah. No timeline at all.
Good stuff.
So,
All right, so yeah, next time defeat Metalface or finish the fight Metalface in I think that's like the end of chapter 3 or something, 2 or 3 in Xenoblade Chronicles.
And then we talk about what we're roundly for or squarely against summation version. And I'm going to start with Jim before he wanders away again. Jim, are you roundly for or squarely against Live a Live?
I am roundly for Live a Live. Is that really what it's called? Is Live a Live?
Yep.
Okay. I'm roundly for Live a Live. I think it's fun. It's probably one of the most well-written games we've ever played on this show. It was funny, and it had great references to other cool stuff, and all the chapters were so different. I think it's a great game. Probably in my top 5 that we played for the show. Matt, roundly for, squarely against.
I'm roundly for Live Alive. I thought that it was very fun, and the chapters were great. I thought that the final chapter, notwithstanding the fact that I clearly missed a big chunk of the end, but the final chunker being a replay of the one that you had just done, and whatever, it was kind of a bummer. It drug at the end, I guess, would be my big complaint. But other than that, I'm still roundly for the game. It's great. The remake, at least, that we played looks amazing, and you definitely should play it just for that alone. And C, 2 thumbs up, the end. Vanessa, what did you think? Are you roundly for or squarely against Live or Live?
I am roundly for this game. I love the conceit of the different chapters and the different playstyles. Some of the chapters I thought were absolutely fantastic, things that I hadn't seen before, particularly in this era of RPG and JRPG. Even the chapters that I thought were just kind of okay, like the near future chapter it was still a totally serviceable little JRPG story. It felt a little bit like Earthbound or something like that, but not with the quirky fun. But yeah, I thought it was great. And really kind of feels contemporary in how it's laid out with these different interlocking stories. Johnny, are you roundly for or squarely against? Livey
I'm
Live.
roundly for.
Oh,
I think it's one of the best games we've played. I really, really liked it. I'm glad it was good. Yeah, there's a couple of chapters that are not as good. Like, I was definitely squarely against Medieval Times until the twist ending, which I thought was pretty rad. I don't know. I think it's a smart game. You can see how it influenced stuff like Undertale and Octopath Traveler. I'm glad we finally got it a real what do you call it? A licensed translation.
Mm-hmm.
And that everyone can play this very easily, because I'm actually going to lend it to my friend Ravi, because I was telling him about it and he's interested in trying it out, because I'm going to evangelize this game. I think it kind of snuck under the radar as a release this year, and everyone should try it because it's real good.
Yeah.
And pretty easy, I would say. Like, if you don't think that you're good at JRPGs for whatever reason, you don't like grinding. I didn't feel like this required a lot of that or a lot of complicated menu mastery.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is Jim gone? No.
I'm still here.
So, right?
He means, have
Jim.
you said whether or not you like this game?
Oh, yeah,
He did.
I did.
A plus.
Oh, I mean,
I
he
said I
did
liked
go.
it. I did.
Oh,
I
you
already
did
went.
go. Oh, okay.
Hey,
All right,
we have
so
some emails that we're going to read.
yeah,
Sweet.
Let's
Because
read
we
them.
put a call out for emails, and we got some. And Jim's going to read the first one.
Oh man, I always have to read. All right. Let's see. First email. I wanted to share a recent verbatim experience I had, verbatim experience I had. I recently took a trip to New England. While driving to Boston from Western Massachusetts, we decided to spend part of the day in Springfield, Mass. While the city is great in general and I highly recommend it, we had a craving for verbatim, and after eating nothing but seafood for days, after failing to get into a local verbatim we decided to drop by another verbatim restaurant we had seen called Wahlburgers. The restaurant had a sickly lime green and white color scheme, and there were strange photos of familiar looking men and presumably their mother on the walls. I went to the bathroom and noticed a poster for podcast favorite boy band New Kids on the Block. Very strange to me. I did not realize they were on a reunion tour and they would be coming to Springfield. Eventually, we placed our orders and were waiting at the table when my fiance pointed at the photo on the wall of the familiar men and mom saying, "Do you realize who that is?" To which I said, "Oh shit, is that Matt Damon?" It was not Matt Damon. It was sometimes Matt Damon co-star and podcast favorite actor, Irish American, self-confessed hate criminal, and hip-hop artist Mark Wahlberg, with his brother Donnie and others who are not as famous. At that moment, it said we were at podcast favorite celebrity brothers, the Wahlberg brothers themed verbatim restaurant. On the ceiling was listed all of the movies and musical projects of the Wahlberg brothers. All in all, the Wahlberg secret verbatim recipe was decent, but certainly not worth the $14 price tag. I'd give the experience 3.5 out of 5. If this story has piqued your interest, there is an awful A&E reality TV show called Wahlburgers that ran for 9 seasons. I cannot.
9 seasons.
Yeah, I cannot recommend it. Even with the lucrative meme value to my fiance and I, we could not get through more than an episode and a half. Anyways, I hope this email is not too long. I wrote it on my phone on lunch. I hope everyone
While
is
he's
doing
eating
well in the
Wahlburgers.
broader Square Roots community. Keep up the good work and vote Saga Frontier. Thanks,
Too late.
Gage
late.
Lacharite. Thanks,
I wish that they
Gage.
had voted Saga Frontier.
That's a beautiful verbatim experience.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for making Jim read that. I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's great, Vanessa, because you can read the next email.
Yay! Matthew, high five.
have to like move my mic and adjust myself to do this. Oh my god. Oh no, and now I've leaned on the TV controller and it's gonna turn the TV on. Oh. All right.
Come on, hop to it. I want to go watch some
I'm
Star Trek
hopping.
Enterprise.
Hey y'all! I am responding a week late, got behind on the episodes, to the email call to action. I hope you are doing well.
Yep,
Now,
that was a week ago.
now I need a minute to think of the rest of this email.
Yes.
No, you can keep going.
Okay.
You don't have to wait a minute.
Okay. Okay. Here's something. In the last Okami episode, it was mentioned that Okami would have probably been an even better game if given a remaster with QOL improvements. That means quality of life.
Quality of life.
Of the other game,
Quantity of lives. I agree.
of the other
6, not
games
3.
that you have played for the show, which one or ones do you think would most deserve or benefit from a remaster or remake, either in just a graphical and QOL update, or with an overhaul to mechanics as well, a la Final Fantasy VII Remaster Remake? Love the show. You guys rock. Moose Master X.
All right, I've
Played
got
for the show.
one to offer up, which is that I would like to see. I love Secret of Mana so much. I would like to see a really cool modern remake.
There is
that
one.
Maybe makes more sense of the Santa Clauses and the, how it's kind of a mess on the backside. Y'all remember how that game's kind of a mess on the backside. Maybe if you just
There
fix that.
is a 3D remake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
think you're
terrible.
talking more about like a proper remake kind of remake.
Yeah. Yes.
Got it.
Like Final Fantasy VII remake. Not like we slapped some polygons on it remake.
No, there's like a full-on remake of it, right?
You're a full-on remake of
like
it,
Trials
Jim.
of Mana,
What's
but it's
your
Secret of Mana?
response?
Gosh. I lose
What's a
track
game?
of all the games that we play on the show.
I bet you can think of one if you try hard. All right, I'll answer for Jem. I think there should be a remake of this great-ish game that we played recently, Live-A-Live.
I think a remake of KOTOR, which is happening, right?
Yeah.
No, it got canceled.
Oh, it got canceled?
Yeah.
But that would be a good candidate, I think, for like probably
Agreed.
some more intuitive menuing and I
Yeah.
think some good graphics updates. Change
Yeah.
that shitty ass font they use in all the menus. But yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I was actually going to say KOTOR 2, because the end
Oh,
of it
yeah,
was
that's a
so
great one.
jumbled up, and they didn't really have time to end the story properly. I say remake both of them and link the stories. Like do the Mass Effect import thing for whoever your main character was in KOTOR 1, and throw them in there at the end. It makes narrative sense. And then it would be, I think, a lot more satisfying than, and your character from the first game has gone into space and is not here anymore.
What about John?
And what about John? What does John think?
Well, I think that I feel like Oblivion would be good. Just because it's a little crunchy, and I'd love to see that with a pretty remake. Nice sheen to it. I was thinking about Parasite Eve, but I think part of the appeal of Parasite Eve is how janky it is for me. I really like it. Oh, you know what would be good? But kind of just make it a bit more modern, but kind of keep that PS1 aesthetic. Vagrant Story, like an expanded remaster
sure,
with like better controls and a little bit, rethought out combat system. I'd love to see that.
That'd be cool.
I think you could pop up the graphics, like really show off those little butt windows that the guy has.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, well, let's move on. We have a Patreon. The Patreon is for $3 a month. You get access to every single bonus episode. The Barbarian went up a couple of days ago, so you can listen to Barbarian. And this month we're doing Jeopardy. It's all trivia questions about the games we've played for this podcast. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Maybe bone up on your games we played. Listeners, we are going to take Halloween off. We'll do a record a short.
Thank you very much.
Or
American
Halloween.
Thanksgiving.
Canadian Halloween, which is American Thanksgiving. So yeah, we're going to take that off. We'll record a fun bonus episode that'll come out first week of December, so that's a few weeks away. Just a heads up. And if you vote for, speaking back to the Patreon, if you pay $5 a month, you get access to all our votes. We just concluded this vote, and this vote's going to take us to the end of 2022. It's up to you, where we'll finish a longish game called Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Thank you for voting for my choice.
2023 is
in a row.
Yep.
2023, Johnny gets no votes.
More like
I'm fine with that.
More like 2022. John picks every game.
Yeah.
The last half, yes.
2022, it's up to you and apparently John. And only John.
So
2023, it's up to me,
also-
is coming up next.
Oh boy.
All Vanessa
So-
games all the time.
2023,
Oh, boy.
it's up to we.
Oh, that's nice.
It's all Wii games. All Wii games. Like Xenoblade Chronicles 1. All right, so we thank every single listener. We can't do them all in one episode because there's a lot of them, or Patreons. But we'll thank these following Patreons, starting with Jim.
I would like to thank Brie Girth, Mostly Rational Person, Viva La Fresh Eyes, May the Baby Reign Forever, Ward Childress, Do Good Recklessly, Dovahkiin's Discount Dragon Barn, Jerry Schreffer, Eduardo Franco, Keysby Knight, Ron, 69 Love Songs, and Gage La Charité.
I would like to thank Sean Walsh, Alexander Jokic, Ari Kopavara, DJ Throw, Citrus C, David Shook, Chief Hazard built a soapbox for Vanessa to rant atop about her dislike of poop jokes. Thank you very much. Jared Collins, Trey, 2023, it's up to me. I choose all the Yakuza games. Esteban Gonzalez and Mike Mario.
I think it's Marno.
Marno.
Yeah.
Thank you. I leaned back from my computer. I can't actually read a new name from that far away. But welcome, Mike, to the Patreon.
I would like to thank this just-in Eldritch Embodiment of Darkness receives Sick Burn from Plastic Cowboy Toy. Arthur A., The RPG Luminary Baby, Tracy, Kyle, RP Siege, Andy Best, Ibo, Stephen Paget, Andy M., Wishbone is Gay, and Johnny Five Alive.
I'd like to thank Double Penetration 2099, AB, Codab Games. Oh no! Tom, Rubber Bear, Grayson, Fresh Eyes, Race Jenkins, Florian Jonas Kramer, and Grey Code.
Okay, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to have an email read on the air, we are at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us on Facebook, Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or probably on Twitter at Square Roots Pod.
For now,
Elon Musk's Twitter.
Yeah.
come visit us on Elon Musk's Twitter until we switch to Mastodon or whatever.
I'm going to try that out. I tried out Pillow Fort. Do not recommend. It's dead.
Yeah, I was.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I was thinking I should make a Square Roots Mastodon thing.
Sure. Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks to Stephen Morris for our Square Roots theme. You can find Stephen on Twitter as Beige on Beige. And on YouTube, links in the show notes.
But for Square Roots, I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
Okay, bye.
I gotta
Bye.
go take a shower.
Oh, there's Jim. He went into his bathroom. His dog and his cat are looking into the bathroom to see what he's doing in there. His door is open, so I really hope he's not doing much in there.
Oh no! I'm glad I can't see Jim. I don't have it in gallery view, so.
The dog is over the.
He hung his coat up.
Yep.
I can see his toes poking over the rug.
Yeah, the cat is looking at him pooping. Jim is pooping on camera.
Wow.
We're not cutting this.
No, but this at the end is for real
sure.
good listeners.
Yeah.
The dog is very interested in what's happening in his bathroom. Are you
As is the
pooping?
cat.
You just poop in here,
Yeah.
huh? Like I do it outside. You know that, right? Like you can just go
The
outside.
Cat's
cat
like,
is,
I got a
really
box
up in
in
his
your
business,
house.
checking it out.
Yeah.
The dog's more in the doorway. Just like really, I guess we should time it to see how long Jim is taking with his bowel movements these days. So
I don't want
but
to
we
edit this episode.
disregard the danger.
all right, so
It's a nightmare.
this guy.
And some will never
Vanessa, finish this
tell.
fucking
I'm
chunker.
trying. He won't stop singing. Now Jim's going back to his living room. He's not coming back to the
Jim
recording.
won't stop pooping in the fucking.
Wow, this is the best episode of Square Roots we've ever recorded.
It's definitely the first time we've had someone poop on
Yep.
stream.
Yep.
All right, we've had someone sleep on
That was
stream,
you.
and that was me
On a hot dog.
with a hot dog, curled up with a hot dog.
Pretty concerned that Jim's going to like come back and get ready for bed, and I don't want to be still recording when that happens.
All right, let's
So-
wrap this
Do you
up.
think his track is still going? That's what
Oh,
really.
that's a good,
that's
I bet
what I'm
it
really
is.
concerned
I
about.
bet it is.
Yeah, I think he doesn't understand where he is or what's happening at this point. So